Yo, you didn't think I'd be here, did you? I didn't think I'd be here. Yeah, well, welcome back to a Monday grind on a Monday. That's right. We figured out which day of the week is Monday. I'm pretty happy about that. This, as usual, is just my usual stream. Every Monday, I end up clicking go and see who turns up. If anyone has any questions, the last couple of weeks we've been using Andy Eskridge's mock draft app, which is Andy's on Twitter. I'm going to go ahead and post that in the comments in case you want to follow him, because it's a free app and you can mock draft with yourself, and why not the website. Yeah, there we go. And so 2 a.m. you can't find 12 friends. You can actually mock. You can do startup mocks. You can do rookie mocks. It's all automated using updated. He's written a fancy nerd code to scrape ADP and stuff from MLF. This is not a paid advertisement. He's just a fella I knew, and it's free, and I enjoy using it. So there it is. Free stuff is cool, I've decided. It's underrated. So yeah, that's what we're doing. That was my basic plan. And then I started asking people like in advance. Normally I ask while I'm on stream, like, hey, you got a minute? And everyone's like, no, dude, I got a life. So I actually asked in advance this week, and no one said they're coming on. But Zach ended up in here. Zach Reed from the Dynasty Dummies has some free time, so like he's here with us, and we're going to talk some rookies. We're going to talk some startup ADP. I know it's really free form, easy. If you got a question, hey Andrew, Andy Eskridge, the author of the app, is actually in the chat in YouTube. How you doing, buddy? So yeah, I don't plan these things. They're not even like a podcast, which is only semi-planned for me. It's just if anyone wants to chat or ask about anything in particular, relating to fantasy football, typically. We out here, sometimes I just grind a sheet I'm working on. Today, it's all about ADP. I've really been thinking about what type of class this is. And so I kind of want to get into that with someone that's not me, because I confirm everything I say. I'm like, this class looks like 2015. And I go, yeah, it does. And that's not a good argument. So we out here. Let's see if we can get Zach in here to maybe disagree with some things, maybe talk about how awesome he is. I don't know. Yeah. Hey, Maddie, how you doing? I definitely not, but I appreciate you saying so. And yeah, here's Andy from the Football Workshop. That's the first time I've actually read the title of your website. I apologize. Yeah, thefootballworkshop.com. As we all know, we all use thefootballworkshop.com, or we should at this point. Zach. There you are. I was trying to get your attention before I put you on because I didn't want to surprise you.
That's all right. I'm here. Like you said, I have no life, so I had a chance to jump on with you too. So it's all fantasy football all the time.
Hey Bobby, how you doing? It's Tuesday already. No, it's Monday. We're doing it on a Monday. Monday grind on a Monday. It's a new thing we're trying out. Yeah,
that'll never work.
No, never. No. What do you think of this class, Zach? Broad view. That's where I'm at. I'm like trying to sum it up at this point before the draft and ADP really kind of settles it in. I'm trying to get my own ideas underway.
So I don't think you're that far. I know you wanted me to come in and go toe to toe with you and tell you how wrong you are, but I heard you say that the other day that you think that this class is really similar to 2015. And I went on last week with Josh Bigby, who's generally aware, and he does his show. And I went on with Josh and said that this class feels more like 2015, where you have a couple of pretty good running backs, a couple of pretty good receivers, and then I think it's a stronger quarterback class than 2015. I think
so little about quarterbacks. I missed that, but yeah, that's true. That's definitely true.
Like the only reason I'm thinking quarterbacks is because J Mike and I this past week on the Dynasty Dummies did the top 5 quarterbacks and 4 tight ends. And so I think that's going to be the saving grace of this class. And I keep hearing again and again how good, how deep this class is. And I don't necessarily agree with that. I think that there are a lot of players who, have a tool or two in their belt that are pretty good, but they don't necessarily have the well-rounded profile. And to me, there are, well, how little I think of tight ends.
Yeah.
I think in a one quarterback league, I'm going to have to put Kyle Pitts in the first round. And
oh my God, thank God. I was thinking about that all yesterday and all today. It's like, after everything I said, I'm looking at this class and I'm like, I bet for a fact after this draft, I'll be like, yeah, Kyle Pitts has a place in this first round.
Yeah, I hate it.
I hate broken clocks being right. And they're going to be so right on this class because, like, it just makes sense that Kyle Pitts has a point here. His quarterback, what is he? A tight end profile at some point becomes significantly better than the wide receiver or running backs we got left, and it's just that simple.
Yeah. To me, you've got 4 wide receivers that I'm excited about. You've got 3 running backs right now that I'm pretty excited about, and then you're at Kyle Pitts. Like that's really where we're at. So I could see him at like 108, 109 in a one quarterback with a 2 quarterback or super flex. I think that drops him down probably 4 spots. So you're talking to me in the beginning of the second round in a super flex. But again, if you bring back a tight end premium that is a real tight end premium, none of this like 125 or 150, but like what Russ Fisher does, Dynasty Outhouse does in his leagues is a 1.75 per reception, which I think with the way Kyle Pitts plays will actually matter to him. Most tight ends, they're not catching enough balls for the premium to make much of a difference.
That's the thing. I everyone wants to adjust for premiums, and I don't know. But no, I agree. And the other thing is just looking through. Like I've got startup ADP, not specifically rookie ADP, but I've just been going through and filtering by career year and looking at 2015 and 16 where we drafted them in startups according to Dynasty League Football. Yeah, on brand tonight. And so. And the other thing that strikes me is I love the 2015 and 16 class because all the narratives that lead you wrong so often led everyone wrong so often in those 2 classes. And yet, like 2015, I'm staring at Stephon Diggs in like the start of the 3rd and Tyler Lockett in the 2nd somewhere. I'm like, they were so easy to spot. And I've just been like, can Rashad Bateman fall a little bit? Can Elijah Moore just get a little more hate because of his size? And also Rashad Bateman, NFL, obviously you're watching my stream. He's really tiny. And weights don't change. So like you should definitely just let him be Stephon Diggs this year. But it's 15 and 16 represent great dynasty years because they're not great classes, but that's where good players fall. And in those specific years, there some easy players to spot falling, if you know what I mean. Or it feels that way, but hindsight's a bitch. I might just be overthinking that.
Yeah, I mean, you look back on say 2015, and you look, and David Johnson was like end of the 2nd round, beginning of the 3rd round in a lot of places, and you look back at that, and it obviously in hindsight seems like that was a terrible idea. But you're sitting here talking to a dynasty, I'll air quote analyst who took Mike Davis over David Johnson, and look, my home league, Stephon Diggs was the last player taken. He was the 5'10". He was the 50th player taken in our rookie draft in 2015. So, it's easy to look back on things. And I think we've come a long way though, as a community in our analysis of classes and specifically
that's
rookies.
Fair.
And so, but
something that keeps me up at night is wondering, like, most of the signal and most of my hits, especially even in my leagues right now, they come from this era from 2013 to 2017. 2018 was okay. And I'm like, we deal with such small sample sizes. I'm like, am I right? Could this be the era of tape? Like the guys look good in tape and don't look good. And I say that, but everyone I bring up to you, they're like, nah, that guy doesn't look good on tape. So I don't even, tape should agree occasionally, I feel personally. But but then I look back and it's like, oh no, the good players in this class and this, yeah, okay. I'm still good to go. But it's the type of thing that bugs me. Like maybe because I have been doing podcasts and the article I wrote for DLF recently, I've strongly been pointing out, like, look, if you just go to ADP, you're probably going to beat the fantasy analyst who's constantly telling you you're an idiot and you should do what I say, because ADP hits pretty well compared to, like, we do a really good job to beat it and beat it consistently. Yeah, I like to think I do sometimes in some places, but not across the board, especially not a quarterback,
Right.
So I know, I mean, so listening to ADP has been what I've been learning lately. And then I look at this class and I'm like, but in 2015 and 16, you really had to not do that. Hey, I look, the top of Spaceman's head just turned up. Hey, buddy.
Gentlemen. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Look, we got a third person. This is amazing. Wow.
But now I'm greatly outnumbered.
Yeah, fair. I think you'll find we're all in the beard club. We're good. Spaceman, Tale of Two Rivals podcast, just in case no one knew. How you doing, man? We're talking about this class and what kind of class it might be, because that's kind of been what I've been thinking about lately. I mean, maybe it's 2000. When is it? 2008, the last time we had a great quarterback class, and that just takes it out of my sample. So maybe I'm just entirely off. And calling it 2015 and 16 was kind of the meme I had, like, post 2020, post 2014. It's too lazy. But the more I look at the actual players in each class, the more I think those 2 years compare really well. Like you said, a couple of good quarterbacks. Well, a lot of good quarterbacks, maybe. A couple of good running backs, a few wide receivers, and then some interesting depth. And that's it. So it feels like that kind of class. Where you at, Spaceman?
I just think everything pales in comparison to last year's class. I think there's still some hangover from last year's class, and that's where some of these picks are being valued as if everyone in the first round is going to hit. And I think it's unrealistic. And I think we have to just going to be a reversion to the mean of, hey, we're not going to get all these rookie picks right, even though there are some good players to get excited about. But it's just so hard after last year. It's just, I feel like I'm spoiled. We've been spoiled. So
no, I think you trade up the more I think about it, the more I want to play a rookie draft the opposite as we typically do startups. Like, I want to go get the player that I want, if you know what I mean. Like, if it's Kyle Pitts, go get Kyle Pitts. Wherever you have to be, you think you have to be to get Kyle Pitts, just do it. Because there's so few hits per class. And not all of the hits come from that first round or that second round, that you just can't. I really feel like it's okay to just target your guy. Unless it's Terrence Marshall, and then just don't. I guess. Are you two or both of you interested in doing a startup? Andy just posted there have been literally 1,000 plus Superflex rookie mocks to go off in the last 3 days. So his fancy little nerd algorithm apparently has a lot to pull from, which I think means it's better now. I'm not sure.
So do you want to do a rookie draft? Is that what you're talking about? Or a startup? Maybe, or what do you like?
I thought maybe we'd start rookie because, they're shorter. Yeah. Like time investment startup wise. Like last time I just ram 10. That's as far as we're doing. I can't sit here. Or do you want to talk about someone specifically from this class? I mean, it's an open forum and the chat's really quiet tonight. I think they think it's a podcast because there are other people on here. So they're like, oh, we better listen. But
no. Yeah. I want all the questions from the chat. But it was interesting to me when Dave said that we got spoiled last year, because 100%, like 100% we did. And it feels really similarly. Again, we're back to 2015 because we had the 2014 class come in with all of those receivers. And not only did you have that huge influx of great receivers, but you also had a huge influx of new dynasty players. Because that class was so good and because everybody thought, and again, we had last year with the 2020 class, and this year it feels like I don't know anybody on Twitter anymore. There are so many new faces, and it's another influx of, not only new dynasty players, but this new good class. And so we got new people expecting that this is the norm. That 2020, where you had 5 or 4 running backs and 5 receivers and just had this incredible class, is the norm, and it's not.
Yeah, I just wrote that when wide receivers break out in the NFL article, and I really tried to focus on what a good year looks like, because I don't think I keep good track of it. And just coming up with simple benchmarks, and it was like, yeah, you know what? Like an amazing rookie year looks like 600 yards. That's a freaking amazing rookie year. Don't fade anyone that gets to 600. If you just want a simple, obviously that's not the whole story, taking some context there, but like that's a decent benchmark. Like if you get 600 yards, and last year was just kind of freaking insane. But I don't know, weird things happen. It's history repeats, but sometimes I guess it's a longer circle. So maybe it does feel lazy just to say last year was 2014, so this is 2015, but I can't get out. Like I keep making player comparisons, and it keeps coming back to those 2 years. Like naturally, that guy's kind of Corey Coleman-esque. Know what I mean? I mean, so yeah, I don't know. That's where that thought finished. Like, there's no more.
What I really do like about, because there's a lot to like about this class still, even though I think there might be some disappointments ahead. But what I like about this class is there's someone in this class for every different type of philosophy. If you're a film guy, there are people there are players who fit that to a T. If you're a numbers guy, there's plenty of players that fit that, and they're both could be great players. But I just really like the diversity of talent in this class, where in other times it felt like there was maybe this class is just strictly a numbers, like only the numbers guys like this class, or this is, there's so many people that are trying to tell me that this good player's good on film, but I don't see it in the numbers. But this year, I just feel like there's a good balance where I think everyone can be happy in the first round to get their guy.
Yeah, Bobby Gilchrist says, we're all quiet because some of us actually have to work instead of being professional DLF hosts. Well, I'm sorry you're at work at 8 p.m. on a Monday. I really am, because I work 8 p.m. every other freaking day. So let me have my day off. Let me have my fun here, Bob. Professional DLF host, the shade, honestly. Yeah, and that again takes me back to 2015 and 16, where you could really make whatever case you want. And I just hope like this isn't the year of the film or something weird. The year of BMI Twitter. Like, just because we get so few hits, there's honestly like a possibility that things that have signal because of the players that came in the year sample that we have. And the new crop, like Travis May? Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I think that's his name. From Rotoviz, formerly of DLF, before he jumped the ship like a true coward. And I just love trolling that guy. But he's been talking about the new transfer rules in college for so long, saying everything's going to change. Just get used to it. Player seasons are going to look different. And it's scary, man. It's scary. Where do you want to draft from in a rookie draft? Ideally at the moment. 101, I guess. And we can do Superflex, I guess. Or should we decide that?
I mean, everybody does Superflex. That's the thing now, I'm told. All
right, I guess.
So look, I don't want to be in the 101 if we're in Superflex, though.
No, that's the thing. Yeah, we're just going to draft quarterbacks until. Where do you stop drafting quarterbacks? We're going to have the NFL draft, which is pretty much how I'm going to decide that. But like, definitely the 101, 102 is a quarterback to me right now.
I think you're probably you may be the first four, depending on how things go, where people are drafted. Because right now it looks like the first 3 picks in the NFL draft are probably quarterbacks, and then there may be another 2 quarterbacks in the top 10. I mean, you could get conceivably 5 quarterbacks in the top 10 picks, which would be just insane. But I think you're going to see Lawrence go, and now everybody is pointing to Zach Wilson going to the Jets, and especially with Darnold being shipped, and so now all of a sudden there's 2. San Francisco traded up; they're probably taking a quarterback. So there's 3. So those 3 are at least going in the top tier of your Superflex draft. And then to me, Trey Lance is the other guy that I think, like, if Lance doesn't go to San Francisco, the really weird thing to me will be is if Mac Jones goes to San Francisco.
Oh God!
If Mac Jones goes to San Francisco, and then Fields and Lance go in the top 10 or 15 picks in the NFL draft, you could conceivably have 5 quarterbacks go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Tyrell points out that we could be looking at a 17-game season. Anyone have any thoughts on that? I believe it when I see it, and I'll need a few years before I know if I adjust anything because of it. It just seems like a player health concern to me.
Yeah, I think that's, I think you're going to see, you may see more guys get weeks off. You may see more veterans kind of take weeks where, you're playing I can't use the Dolphins anymore or the Bills, so I'm going to pick on the Jets because they're in the division. But you get weeks where you're playing the Jets and maybe your veterans take a week off. It's going to be interesting to see how commissioners attack this. Where do you this year just say week 16 and 17 are nothing, and you keep your league the way it was, or 17 and 18? I don't even know how they're doing it. 17 and 18, I guess. It's an 18-week season with 17 games. Is that how we're doing it?
I guess. I just decided on the 110, unless anyone's got any objections. And something neat is you can choose different picks. I don't know how you guys do with trades. I do terribly, but if you trade up for 2 second-round picks, you can actually select you. I thought that was pretty neat in addition. He did since the last time I used it. Oh, but nice. I think the 110, it gets you after the quarterbacks. It gets you, probably after Kyle Pitts, so we don't have to worry about it. And really puts you in your take your guy kind of territory, you know what I mean? But
the biggest thing I was confused about, Peter and Zach, is that you guys saying QB's the first 3 picks. I don't quite understand that because I thought this was a Kyle Pitts room. I thought Kyle Pitts 101, Dynasty 101, right?
Well, we don't have to worry about it because he went at the 106. So it's Trevor Lawrence, Najee Harris went ahead of quarterbacks, which I think is interesting. I think the lack of depth there kind of elevates the one player most people agree is the best at the position, the running back position right now. Then it's Zach Wilson went ahead of Justin Fields. Then Jamar Chase. Yep. So that's the lazy pick's gone. Then Kyle Pitts. And no, it's not at this point. I'm this far into the class. I don't hate that. And I hate that I don't hate that at the 106. Then it's who's this? Trey Lance,
quarterback.
Trey Lance. Okay, yeah, that's a man who has a name. Travis Etienne and Javonte Williams. So you're out of luck, Zach. Who you got left that you like? I'm looking at Bateman personally. There's Gamewell still there. If anyone's a big fan.
I think for me at this point, I'm looking.
I don't think there's anyone in this room that's going to draft Waddle right now. Just to let you know, the boys. I think we're all haters. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm looking at a wide receiver. It's either going to be Rashad Bateman, Devontae Smith, or Rondell Moore here for me. That's where I am at. Those are the 3 names, and Rondell Moore and Devontae Smith are in my top tier of wide receiver, and Bateman is just that next half a tick down for me. So I could be talked in. I know the numbers say that Bateman is probably the play. I could be talked into that without too much trouble.
And see, I like Bateman and Moore just as much. It's just that I happen to know Bateman goes earlier, according to DLF ADP, than Moore.
That may be the play then is take Bateman and hope you get more. Or, if we're doing this for real in a rookie draft, maybe you can package right now you can package like your 3rd round pick and your 2nd round pick and move up a few spots. So because I don't think that the depth in this class is as much as everyone has said. I don't.
So no one's tempted by Kenneth Gainwell or Jamar Jefferson or, there's a Mac Jones sitting here. What if he goes, top 10? Who knows?
I mean, look, if Mac Jones goes to San Francisco at 103, this is changing your entire draft. The problem, though, with Jones for me in fantasy is he does not have that rushing upside. So we talked, J. Mike and I talked about Mac Jones this week, and he was like, what do you see his ceiling? And I said, well, his ceiling to me is after those first 7 or 8 guys that can run and can throw, That's where if Mac Jones hits absolutely everything else perfect, he could be like the quarterback 9, 8, 9, 10. So, whatever. I'd rather take a shot at one of these receivers that I think can.
I don't know, man. Tom Brady and Drew Brees would like a word. I mean, you don't have to be the Cam Newton to get in those top 5. Matt Ryan has like one of the most top 5 seasons ever. Is Matt Ryan outside the range? I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. When you're trying to bet on the upside, it's a little easier if you got the rushing upside. I was listening to, unfortunately, not the Dynasty Dummies, but the Late Round Quarterbacks podcast on the way back from town today. And he was talking about tight ends being drafted at a higher premium now because people have cottoned on to the rushing upside and kind of somewhat neutering the value of late round QB just a little bit. And it's not, well, JJ said it, so it's not an ungood point. There's many Rundle Moore haters.
Thank you, Duck.
DFF Duck is on. He's on my side. That's nice.
And so I think I actually really like the 110 spot because there's been play, depending on where Trey Lance actually goes in drafts, I feel like he could slide to here based on how certain drafts go, or one of these top players that they can slide here. However, I like having my choice of the top of this second tier of wide receivers, but I also have the chance to, if someone's really gung ho about a Rashad Bateman, they can come up and trade with me, and I can pick up a Devonta Smith or a Rondale Moore because it's really tough to choose from right here because it is a real tier break. I think it's the beginning of a tier right here. But I think I could. What were we going to say?
Nothing. Your show, man. You go.
I was about to say. I'd say if I was to be on the clock and pick right here, it would be Rondale Moore because I talked Zach sold me on it. He was on my show and we talked about Rondale Moore and I'm all in, baby.
I like it.
I obviously like Rashad Bateman and Moore are neck and neck for me. They're in the first tier. Moore's kind of slipping out because I only saw 1 year and it's just hard to love without reservation a player that you only saw play more than 4 games once at 18 years old when he was a physical freak even then. And so like what happens when you get a little bit older? I don't know. But to be real clear, like I love this. I agree. I like this 110, but it triggers me to think about falling wide receiver value when I've got so many JJ Arcega-Whitesides and Denzel Mims. And so if I'm in that spot, I'm actually trying to trade up to get Chase or Najee Harris. And I'm trying to get back in this spot using other value in my later picks, like trading my second up to get it. Like that's how I'm trying to target Moore and Rashad Bateman, just to let everyone in my leagues know so that they know not to let me do it. That's where I'm at. Because that's what I'll be doing. So it's more for you guys.
Yeah, I mean that's he's my top player on the board. If I was in this spot in a real rookie draft, my move would be to see if I could move back to maybe the 201 because I still think you get Rondale Moore there. But if I don't, I get Bateman, I get Devontae Smith, or I get that quarterback. So any of those 4 players are going to be valuable. And I probably try to trade that 110 and like my 310 for the 201 and then maybe a first round pick for next year. So I end up getting the guy I want. I get an extra first round pick next year. Or actually, probably even better is if you can push it to 2023. But I don't know. Not everybody's league has, that number of picks available. But that's what I think I would be trying to do is end up with 2 second round picks, an extra first in a future, and still get the guy I want.
I would say Du Bois is 22 here, so we make him sad because of our Jalen Waddle hate. And just to play devil's advocate, right now, if you want Jalen Waddle, this is around about where you take him. So that's not a bad place to be looking at him. He's just got nothing I want right now.
I'll say wait till next year. You'll be able to get him with a third-round rookie pick. It'll be fine.
I think so. Kadarius Toney is going a little later, but I guess we'll throw his name out. And I honestly think, depending on draft capital, Mac Jones and the quarterbacks, I'd be surprised if they all get good draft value for them to still be on the board here. I don't think they're all going to get the draft value you want, but maybe. What do I know? It's quarterback. So, and Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle are fair conversations right now. I just don't think they have any fans here right now. Between the three of us, we're like more.
I mean, I like Smith. Like, to me, like I
like Smith. I just don't like him more.
My rankings right now would have Rondale Moore, Devontae Smith, and then Rashad Bateman. Like that's where I'm at on my board.
Any of you guys concerned? Because I am a little bit. I don't have A-Dot for college, but I do know he played more. Rondale Moore played a lot in the slot. Like I think you can develop that outside skill set. He's definitely got the physical traits, and I'm not sure just being a slot wide receiver is such a negative thing. And I mostly care about the players who are more likely to elevate into any role than trying to hit Calvin Johnson with every pick, because there is no Calvin Johnson in this class. So who cares? But is that a concern for any of you guys? That's kind of what has me leading, honestly, Bateman over Moore. It's just I don't have to wonder as much with Moore. With Bateman, he still might not hit, and so mightn't, I guess, Moore. But there's just less of a question mark around what he did in college. For me, I know that's where I'm at.
I mean, as far as Devonta Smith's concerned, we're talking about the end of the first round, early second round with Devonta Smith at this point. I'm all systems go. It's not like I'm paying a premium first half of my rookie pick. So that upside with Devonta Smith, I really get excited about that. So that's kind of how I'm viewing him. Like if I'm not paying Chase type premium for him, why not take a swing? Yeah, he's an outlier. Okay. And if I lose, I'll slap myself because I got convinced again to go against the stuff I believe in. But even with that, doesn't even just because he had that age 20 breakout, or I think it was age 20, doesn't mean that he's a bum. He just at the tail end of that threshold that you like analytically. So I don't get it. I don't get all the hate for
Smith would need the draft capital to put him in the tier with Moore and Bateman for me personally, but I think he's going to get it. So it's also a fair place to put him. But I see all things being equal, I'd take Bateman, Moore, and Smith. So any of you guys wondering what part of this is going to sound stupid in a year? You'll be like, we're here talking about these three guys and Jamal Jefferson's still sitting there. That's what's bothering me. Like,
rookie drafts are brutal that way because you get the hindsight the next year and you're like, man, I was so stupid. My rebuttal, my argument for never mind. You took Rondale Moore, so I don't even get to argue for him.
It was two against one. It was 2 against 1. Well, I can be reasonable.
my argument for Rondale Moore though is because of what he does and what he is. So he's that slot receiver who can drive targets, right? So I think you've got this really secure floor for Rondale Moore. If you look at where his absolute, like if you said this is everything happened perfectly for Rondale Moore, man, Tyreek Hill is the only player in the NFL who like even remotely looks and has that movement capability that Rondale Moore has. And you never want to bet on being the next Tyreek Hill because because look, unicorns are unicorns because
I think he's amazing.
but I think Rondale Moore is the floor of like a really great slot receiver with the ceiling of Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, so we were right in that Rashad Bateman went next, so it was really then or never. Devontae Smith went in the first pick of the second round. Jalen Waddle went at the end of the first, just to do it in a weird kind of order here. So we're talking about the right players, I guess, according to ADP. Then Mac Jones went. And again, I think that could be one of the things that looks really stupid. If Mac Jones gets a job at quarterback over wide receivers who aren't expected to do much more than 600 yards their first year, we could. And most don't do that. It could feel nasty, but I get it. Jamal Jefferson. So we're just out of running backs at this point with Kenneth Gainwell going next. Elijah Moore, which means I don't have to stoke up and ask to draft him. Terrence Marshall, because someone feels like letting someone fall to us. Kyle Trask, who is apparently a quarterback. Chuba Hubbard was honestly the guy I was hoping kind of fell to have that conversation. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, which again, because people just love letting players fall to you a little bit. Like that's too early for St. Brown for me, but whatever. He really feels like that Packers draft pick, and that's not just because his brothers did exactly that, but like a third, fourth round player to an interesting depth chart everyone gets way too excited about. But that's me. And he has a good breakout age, I guess, which is, all that matters, I've been told. And then it's us. Taylor Wallace is here, but I don't want to draft just wide receivers, to be honest, especially in this class. But I really like Taylor Wallace. And the other guy I'd stoke up for is maybe Michael Carter. I quite like him down here. And then you got Seth Williams as well. And I'm out. I'm kind of out of players that I really, really like. So thoughts? Anyone else want to name a different player?
So I like your Tylan Wallace. I like De'Ami Brown in this range.
De'Ami Brown's interesting.
I like Kylan Hill in this range. Although it looks like with your ADP, he may be falling way further than this, and you may get a steal on him. And the other player that I would consider in this range, but again, it looks like you might be able to play him on to the next round, is Brevin Jordan at tight end.
Sorry, someone's just messaging me.
And then for me, I think it would come down to at the wide receivers again, Tylan Wallace and De'Ami Brown, like Zach mentioned. They're pretty close for me. I think I lean Tylan Wallace just because I'm not going to let that fourth year play totally throw me off like he can tend to do, because people don't like the wide receivers who stay for 4 years. Because man, if you had erased the fourth year because of the injury, coming back from the injury, he would have been a special prospect. Analytically concerned, I think he's still a very good prospect, but Tylan Wallace excites me. I know there are some holes in his game from a film standpoint, and he might be a little bit of a one-trick pony.
From what standpoint?
A film standpoint, a Zach Reed standpoint.
Zach Reed standpoint. I got it.
Well, that's when I say film, it either means Zach Reed or J. Mike Check. So that's what usually when I say that's what it means.
Someone Tyro asked about Moore's ADOT. Yeah, I can't track it, but we just talked about that. I think Zach Reed said he's basically Tyreek Hill, so don't worry about it. And Spaceman's just erected a statue to breakout age and bounced around it. So those were our answers. I said he's more likely to succeed for fantasy in whatever role he happens. Like, I'm happy to get the next Jarvis Landry if that ends up what he is. I'm fine with that, because we have relatively few any good fantasy players per class. And this isn't a particularly rich draft, I don't think. Speaking of which, Seth Williams keeps staring me in the face. Like, I can't figure out why I'm not higher on him. And I love Taylor Wallace, to be honest. so there's a random bunch of thoughts for you all. What are you trying to interrupt with there, Zach? Something more about how Rondell Moore is Tyreek Hill? Or?
No. But I'm not like his ADOT is what he is. He's a slot receiver right now. And that's how he was used at Purdue. He was a slot receiver. There were a bunch of
play at Purdue. It's a problem.
Yeah, but it's not something that I am overly concerned about, because I think teams will draft him to play in the slot, and if they decide that he can do more, then he will. I mean, that was the first year of And no, you know what? I'm not even going to say that. I'm not even going to go back to that. Well, I'm not concerned about his ADOT. I think that teams will use him as a slot receiver, and if there's more there, then he has the potential to grow. But if he doesn't, I'm still happy with Rondell Moore as a slot receiver.
Yeah, career ADOT. Steve apparently has ADOT for college, because he says Devontae Smith is 10.9. And Moore's is 5.4. But again, that's based off 1 year. And, he was breaking some pretty good yards after the catches to operate with that ADOT. And I would default to he was exceptionally good at any ADOT. And to be exceptionally good compared to players that have twice his ADOT, that's not necessarily a negative thing for me. And having only seen 1 year, God knows what he would have developed into. At the college level, he already can basically bench press most teams' roster by himself. I'm pretty sure. Well, not bench press, squat, probably. He probably squat it.
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm not hearing anything about the second.
We're not
pick,
taking
guys.
Seth
Someone
Williams.
spoke up.
I heard you say
we're
Seth
taking
Williams.
Michael Carter, right? Michael Carter.
No. Look.
No?
I will go Tylan Wallace. I will go De'Ami Brown. If we're going running back, I'm going to make a stand on Kylan Hill, but I don't have to go running back.
Kylan Hill.
I would argue Kylan Hill or Kylan Hill as well, just because I think he's got that size and he's got that receiving upside. There's a lot to like about Kylan Hill.
I hate the part of the season where people mention players and I'm like, who? Because I don't know enough about Kylan Hill right now, but I'm happy to defer. So it's Taylor Wallace, basically, is what you're saying.
Oh yeah, we can do that. Like I won't push
De'Ami Brown too. I do De'Ami Brown either or.
I mean, we're playing this league out, you realize, so you better sack. These are the only players we're going to have on our roster. We better hit them all. I'm just saying. So you were kind of pushing Kylan Hill there, who's apparently a running back. Like you would take him here over Taylor Wallace. Is that what you were trying to say, Spaceman?
Oh no, I'd take him over Michael Carter for sure.
Oh yeah, okay, that's what I was saying. If we're going running back, I think Kylan Hill is the play. Like Michael Carter was a smaller back. And then you saw his 40 time at the pro day, and it wasn't particularly great. And so you throw a smaller back who is now limited athletically. That's not somebody that I'm interested in going after. Oh, Brevin Jordan went that.
Yep. Saw that. And I was just going to say, you maybe pass on Michael Carter, and we could have had Carter and Hill back to back. You see, this is why I don't listen to you. No, but you pretty much have to decide between Taylor Wallace and De'Ami Brown right now. Not many people are juxtaposing them that way, but that's the way it feels to me as well. I like both, and I lean Taylor, but I think the hype's on De'Ami Brown. For whatever reason, I don't understand hype. I don't know what popular culture does. But I think more people are aware, I think, of De'Ami. I guess Taylor, it's because Taylor's like he played 4 years in college. Is that it?
I like Wallace, but I've got them. So I've got De'Ami Brown as my 6 and Wallace as my 8. So I don't like. There's not that much to choose from them, and that's not a big gap. Those two spots are not a big gap. So I don't mind going either way there.
All right. Well, after De'Ami was Pat Ferrer, who's apparently a tight end in this class, and obviously going to be the best tight end, just to mean that I have to learn how to say that name. Michael Carter, Trey Sermon, who I noticed none of you mentioned. I thought one of you would be higher on him. Then Kadarius Toney, Brevin Jordan, Javian Hawkins at running back, Tutu Atwell.
That kills me. Javian Hawkins for me.
Oh, really?
I like getting him in the 4th round of rookie drafts. That's who I usually get him in the 4th round everywhere, and seeing him go in the mid-3rd. Oh gosh, that's tough. So
Tutu Atwell going in the mid-3rd kind of hurts my heart a little bit, and then Seth Williams coming after that. Like I like both of those guys kind of a lot. Wait, no, then there's also Ramondre Stevenson. Thank you. Perfect grinder as I understand it from tape people. Tamarion Terry, who's just might actually be an actual giant. I think someone told me. Or was that someone else?
No, that was for Coco.
Right. I think Tamarion's going to look pretty good in uniform as well, and his production's okay. It's interesting. Then Seth Williams, who again, like I can't find anything bad about Seth Williams. I kind of like him, but the hype's not pushing me to love him, and so he just keeps sitting there. But I love the idea of getting him in the 3rd round. Which of those guys is Stephon Diggs? I guess is the real question. And then we're back on the clock, and I guess this Kylan Hill, you guys better tell me about him, because I'm out of players really that I'm really interested in, apart from maybe Kellen Mond, since this is a Superflex league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of out of players I really love. So tell me about Kellen.
Yeah, I think here that's where I'm looking. I'm either looking at Kylan Hill or I don't really like Amari Rodgers, but in the 3rd round, I guess he's got enough upside to make you a little bit interested. But look, Kylan Hill was very, very good at Mississippi State. He opted out in 2020, but he had 1,300 yards in 2019, 10 touchdowns, has had a season of 20 plus catches, can do kind of everything. And he's big enough to potentially be that guy who comes in and fills in for an injured running back, or, something happens to a starter. So that, I mean, if you're looking for that pass catcher plus, archetype here, Kylan Hill is a good way to go.
He feels like a bigger, what's his face from Miami, the running back. Who's the running back from Miami? Myles Gaskin. That's who he kind of feels like for me. He's got that receiving upside, a little bit bigger frame, but just a lot to like. I think Zach really covered it, but that's what excites me about him. I haven't seen his, if he's got the quote unquote, I know athleticism doesn't matter for over here, Peter, but I didn't see his testing numbers yet. I saw his size, and his size is what you want, especially for a guy who can catch as well. Whew, man, getting him here in the third round actually kind of feels like, it also feels like what's his face for Indianapolis now that everyone crazy for a while there.
Here's the thing about this point in the draft for me. It's that we've already taken 2 wide receivers, and I really I want to go up and get a wide receiver I like. Outside of that, generally, I just want to stock up on running backs. It's not because I'm tired of stacking my rookie drafts with all the wide receivers I love, only to just have to hold them on my roster forever. But it's kind of that, because running backs are more likely to get at least hype as a starter at some point earlier and more often. But I was just looking through Stephon Diggs, who was later drafted in rookie drafts, and he was later drafted in the NFL draft, but even his value increased into year 2, according to ADP. And so, you kind of do have to take them. But does anyone else feel awkward about not hitting running back hard, especially when you've got wide receiver heavy early? Because that's, to me, just in general, running backs are more likely to do something early enough, and so you can at least trade them. Maybe for those other wide receivers that you like, and it's just a decent value move. Or
But you've got to take running backs that have that potential to gain value. So not every running back is going to be the guy who can come in and fill in for. I mean, obviously last year James Robinson is the ultimate, hey, we can point to this guy, but even Myles Gaskin or Salvon Ahmed in Miami had weeks where you could use them and potentially gain value there. But
they didn't hit in their rookie year though, right?
Well, no, that was rookie. That was rookie.
That
year.
wasn't my.
No, that was Gaskin's second year. You're right.
Second year, yeah.
But Ahmed's first year,
yeah,
as UDFA, Peter. There you go.
Oh yeah, of course. I don't know him well.
and I agree with you. I tend to kind of spray my later round draft picks toward running backs. Although last year I didn't do that. Last year I ended up with the wide receiver in Chicago who's going to be the next slot receiver there. Whose name escapes. This is great live show. Name escapes me. But we were talking about Kylan Hill.
I'm yet to name a player accurately. So
this is a place for it. Kylan Hill Pro Day came in at 214 pounds, which was the real number that we're looking for. He's 5'10", 214. He ran a 4.57, which is whatever. That's fine. And that he basically checked that he's big enough that Darnell Mooney. Thank you, Steve. Darnell Mooney was the guy that I ended up with in the 4th or 5th round everywhere last year. Yeah. And the year before it was Deontay Johnson. Those are just guys that I ended up taking dart throws at. But usually it is running backs, and perhaps I'm doing that wrong because.
No, I think ADP is agreeing with you. It's a class-specific thing, and this year it seems to be heavily take the wide receivers and intersperse them with an occasional running back.
Well, I think it's a much better wide receiver class than it is a running back class. After 3 running backs, there are so many question marks in this class to me.
I got questions for most of those top three too, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
No, I'm with you. And so where did we came up? Kalen Hill is the guy you guys want. What's his receiving look like?
He's pretty good. He had 22 catches as a sophomore, 16 as a junior. Opted out last year. I don't have his like yards per team pass attempt or anything like that because I'm a film guy, but I've seen him catch the ball. And one of the things that I really like about Kylan Hill as a pass catcher, as I use this professional draw out so you can look up his actual numbers.
He had 23 receptions. He played 3 games last season. He had 23 catches in 3 games last year.
Oh, see, there you go.
So that's pretty. That's not bad.
And the thing that I really like about his game in the passing game is his transition from catching the ball back to running is almost instantaneous. That's something that not every running back can do. They don't always transition back to a runner quickly. And Kylan Hill, man, he does that.
Yeah, it crosses Zachary Prime Meridian twice, apparently, according to my database, because apparently he's in there. And 81% of his yards came from the rushing game, which leaves a nice, clean, healthy 19%, which is actually pretty good coming from the receiving game, which, is definitely in and around or above, frankly, a 3-down running back average in college. So, yeah, all right. I'm in. It depends where he goes. That's the thing. The deeper you get, the more important for running back specifically. It feels like landing spot almost matters. Anyone else out there like Tutu Atwell? Or is it just me, by the way?
He's teeny tiny.
I don't care. He's really good at being teeny tiny. That's all the thoughts. Okay.
I like him in the 4th round. Like I like him as a dart throw. But I think I'd rather have Seth Williams before him. So
that's fair. I take Tutu above some other players that went here, but yeah. Amari Rogers, Dwayne Eskridge, Sage Surratt, peace be with you, Team 1. Jonathan Adams Jr., all the wide receivers, Anthony Schwartz, Nico Collins, who Jay Mike Check actually made me go and look at, forced me. Actually, that might have been a Patreon. Either way, I looked and
Yeah, he's really athletic and played at Michigan.
Yeah. That's better than I came out with. Larry Roundtree,
yep.
Running back. Marcus Stevenson, Jarrett Patterson, who I do know about. Very limited in terms of where he was playing on the field, but he's really good at running the ball, as far as I can tell. Rakeem Boyd, and then Demeric Felton, who is a name I've been meaning to look up. I've heard some.
I don't think even he knows what position he plays, even though he's listed as a running back.
Fair enough. We have a late round Kellen Mond, who I really don't mind as a late round, especially since we're doing the whole Superflex thing here. Like, it depends where he lands and what happens there, but Kellen Mond's okay as far as I will evaluate quarterbacks. Like, sure, I guess. Let's see. Anyone else?
Zach, have you looked at Elijah Mitchell at all?
Yes, Elijah Mitchell. I like. He's actually going to be on the next show that we do, where we do our catch-all. But he is very, very fast. And is. Let me see if I can pull up because I was just watching him the other day. I'm not finished watching him.
Yeah, I'm really just sitting here waiting to draft Isaiah McCoy, and I don't think he's in here.
The other, if you scroll back up, it's Hunter Long, I think, is an interesting name also. Yeah. So I talked about him this week on the Dummies Show, and I don't know if do you follow Kent Lee Platt, who's at Math Bomb?
Yeah.
So he does that RAS score, the relative athletic score, and he talks, and I have somewhere I'll pull up a tweet from him that said the easiest way for him to kind of demarcate where athleticism matters is Pro Bowl, and he said that's really kind of dirty, but the relative athletic score of Pro Bowlers, quarterback was like 7 and change, running back was like 7 1/4. Wide receiver was 7.5. And then tight end, the Pro Bowl tight ends have a relative athletic score of above 8. And so you're looking for athleticism when you're looking at tight ends matters a ton. And then I started looking into Hunter Long, and Hunter Long is in the top 15% athletically of tight ends since 1987. So like he is absolutely legit. He's above an 8 with the relative athletic score, and I talked Peter into with numbers taking Hunter Long.
Hey, it's not my theme. Sure, that sounds good.
And there goes Elijah Mitchell next. Yeah.
Elijah Mitchell went next. He's someone I have to look at more. Like, I really have to dig into some of these profiles. I'm like very outside of my favorites. I'm very casual until the draft because half these names don't need to take up space in my attic, frankly. Brennan Eagles is another name at the wide receiver position. Apparently, I have no interest. And Kalen Moore didn't even get drafted in a 4-round mock. I think that's a pretty interesting name in Superflex, but I literally know nothing about quarterbacks. I just took a swing for 4 for 4 because they asked me, like, who's your deep quarterback? I was like, all right, I guess I'll come up with one. But then Jake was like, I like him too. And that made me feel icky, but like I was onto something. So, that felt pretty smooth for a one-team mock. We went heavy wide receiver early with Rondell Moore and Taylor Wallace, ended up with Kalen Hill as a 3rd-round running back. And then Hunter Long. And if either of those two hit, that was, I guess, Zach and Spaceman's call, because I am very lazy and I had no idea who anyone was after Tutu Atwell and Ramondre Stevenson and Seth Williams, to be honest with you. Everyone I've looked at down here, like Amari Rogers, Dwayne Eskridge, I looked at Sage Surratt, Nico Collins, like I just don't. I didn't find a lot in these late round values. So I guess ADP is getting a little less smart the later we get, I guess, according to me. I don't know. Jalen Darnold. Darden? That's a name I've heard.
So I have a question, and this because he said dominator rating, and I think that this is the trap that dominator rating falls into. Is Jalen Darden had 19 touchdowns this last year.
Yeah, touchdowns are a problem.
And that to me gives you JJ Arcega-Whiteside has a huge dominator rating because he caught touchdowns, and I think that is the trap of dominator rating without looking up the context of the dominator rating. So it's nice. So you're like, oh, he had a great dominator rating, but then you go and look and you had a year with 12 touchdowns and a year with 19 touchdowns, and that really spikes the dominator rating.
I can't prove it because enough good players had great touchdowns and that improved their dominator rating, but it does feel like if I'm going to miss, it's largely the player has heavy touchdown usage. And so it's a little bit of an awkward feeling. Usually, at least I like to see the yards reflect the touchdowns. Right. And yeah, his dominator rating's got to be off the chart the last year because it's like it's a 54 dominator rating percentage in that final year. He's very much a late breakout player. Just taking a quick look at Darnold here, Darden,
Tyler Durden,
I guess.
No, it's Jalen Darden. Sorry.
When players only have one great year and it's their last year, I like to see a dominator rating at least above 40. Preferably they blow it out the water, and he did that. To be fair, but again, that last year breakout isn't the top of my list to draft, but as a deep dart throw, Darden's interesting just because he crossed, even his yards are above 40% of the team's offense. And that's not terrible. You've got like Brandon Marshall and a few others that did that and only did that in their last year. Vincent Jackson, but I don't have all of his college profile because he played at a lower level for a while. So it's not a pure, very clean example. But I mean, it's not horrible to have such a large dominator your final year. It's just worrying because then you've got also Kelvin Benjamin and most of the others that are more than underwhelming.
Something with Darden too is that his frame, and I know size doesn't matter at all, for everything, but his frame is smaller.
It's not about statistical relevance. That it doesn't matter.
Being 5'9", 174 and scoring 19 touchdowns, like that's not the typical body of an NFL touchdown scorer.
And that's kind of what I was trying to say. What I bringing up was that Matt Spencer and the whole Rotoviz team have been doing a lot on Freak Score and how your athleticism and your size, how that can kind of how that translates over to your. There's a little bit of predictivity or predictiveness when it comes to your touchdown ability, but that doesn't. You can't explain that with Darden here because he doesn't have that elite athleticism, that elite frame where you could see that, oh, that's because he's an incredibly insane athlete. So that's kind of where a box I'd want to check with a player like Darden. But he's not a bad dart thrower in the 4th round, especially over some of these other players who were going off.
No, he got like 3.9 yards per team pass attempt that final year, and that's a high benchmark. But 2020, honestly, that's where I'm finding most of the weirdness. That last year yards per team pass attempt seems to be a little elevated. I think because some teams didn't play full seasons, and it's just a weird ass year. But they only played 9 games last year, so it might be upping the sample.
Like his last year and I haven't looked, full disclosure, I've only watched 1 game of Jalen Darden so far because there's not a lot available. I'm going to have to find North Texas to watch him for the next episode that we do on the Dynasty Dummies. but statistically and size wise, like his final year reminds me an awful lot of John Ross and his last year, but Darden's doing it in Conference USA. Like that's, I don't know, that's just how it feels to me. And again, like, I'm not trying to tell you don't draft him. Like he's fine. You're in the 4th round or 5th round. Go ahead. Like those are where you fire those shots. But don't look at his dominator rating and think that, oh, I'm going to get a diamond just because he,
Yeah, he doesn't look like a Tyler Lockett or a Seth Williams. He might look like a later Preston Williams, a later Kelvin Benjamin, even though he had 1st round draft capital. That's the kind of profile he's going to measure up to in the positive fantasy careers. He got like 32 touchdowns, by the way, the last 2 years.
Yeah, he had 19. Yeah, 19 and 12. He did.
Yeah, and 1,190 yards. Again, based on the conference average last year, he was at 0.9 yards per team pass attempt above the conference average. He had a really good last year.
Yep.
But 2020 is weird, and so I'd want to dig into more of North Texas. Like look at strength of schedule, look at what everyone else did on the team. If everyone looks insanely good last year, or like I want more context to that. But like I said, in the 3rd and 4th round, if I like it, I like it. Just take it. I don't hate that, but that's such a get out because then if he doesn't hit, I'll be like, hey, I said I didn't like him. And if he does hit, I'll be like, see, I said to take the shot. So, as always, let your opinion be your guide. I'm just talking up here. Every other year looks terrible. I mean, awful. T-King Mode, who I believe I've seen on the Twitters, is watching us on Periscope, which I believe is a defunct platform now, so I don't know how he's managing it. But he asks, did I make it in time for the Nerd Talk? Like, where do you think you are, bro? This is a tape-only channel. This is high tea.
It's the tape over. We took over here.
Yeah, this is
I
a
say
Monday.
it's just me.
Monday high tea talk. That's what happens around here. And by tea, I don't mean like the nerdy little drink that English people, not Kentuckians, drink. And I mean tea levels, obviously. But hey, TK, how you doing? I guess. Tyrell again. Appreciate you, man. He's pointing out he had 12. Darden had 12 touchdowns in second to last year as well, and 700 yards. That's decent. It's just he left it pretty late and wasn't able to dominate the team until that last year. I'd say that was the main black mark on his profile. That last year looked great, but it was also 2020. Anyone else from North Texas ever hit?
No.
Sorry, not because that matters, just because I was wondering if we can make some. Oh, that always happens. Jalen Guyton. No, so not a lot of North Texans. Not that matters. That doesn't mean Jaden Darden's good or bad. I was just interested because I don't know much about North Texas. Might have gave me some more context. He's the best player to come from North Texas ever. Let's say that at the position. No, not even. Okay, thank you, Zach. I was looking for that trademark Zach chuckle. So yeah. Isaiah McCoy, I really don't think Isaiah McCoy is even in the ADP right now, and I'm fine with that.
He's not on sleeper either, which kills me. But he had a pretty disappointing pro day for a guy. I know wide receiver athleticism doesn't matter, Peter.
Stop.
But he did. Okay. He did.
I'm the guy. I have a problem with it. I don't think it doesn't matter. I just don't care.
Yeah, no. You'd like to see some kind of threshold with him, and he didn't. He didn't even hit the threshold, which was kind of troubling for a small school guy.
It has more to say about draft capital, which is something that's important, if anything else. So, like, teams aren't going to be looking at him, which is a bad thing. As an undrafted free agent or anything else, you need someone to notice you. Although I don't know how Tanner Gentry ever got onto the Bears practice squad and kept jumping on and off if athleticism and height matters, but there you go. There's
McCoy did get invited to the combine, or what the fictional combine. He got invited to that. So there's something.
Does that matter as much? Oh, does it? I don't even know if it matters. I guess combine players, it's a pretty important thing that the NFL is aware of you. Again, it predicts that there's some level of interest, some path to opportunity. But like fictional invites, are they even as taken as seriously by teams, do you think?
The boss is calling, guys. Ryan, I got to go talk to Ryan McDowell. Sorry, Peter. You guys got bumped for Ryan McDowell.
I get it. I get it.
He just big timed us. Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. I got to go have a conversation with Ryan, my pal, my first name basis. Right, get out of here. All right, get out of here, Mr. Big Time. Good Lord, he gets personal calls from Ryan McDowell. Goddamn, would you believe? Steve Bowman, Mean Joe Green, a hit from North Texas. Oh, thanks. I was thinking specifically at wide receiver, but yeah, cool.
I was going to say Jeffrey Wilson, but he's a running back. That doesn't.
Yeah. Little before my data sample. Yeah, anything before, I think I have it up to 2000 now. So, yeah.
Joe Green was before I was born, so.
You were born? I thought you were just like made. The man.
I came this way.
I'm pretty sure I was born this age. I have no memories of before this time. So, Lance Dunbar as well, apparently, and Patrick Cobb. Go figure. Lance Dunbar was a thing at one point. I don't know why I'm doing this. It's not like the team he plays for.
This is the University of North Texas podcast. This was slick. I really like this app.
I do as well. I like the fact it's dragging ADP from actual drafts, and so it changes. And whatever algorithm he's got written there, it doesn't just draft the same players in the same order. It mixes it up a little bit, and that makes it feel like a bit better practice, if you know what I mean, or a little bit of expectation of what you're going to see. Yeah, I like to think. Superflex Dynasty, 10 teams, sure. I've been talking with just random, coincidentally, with John Hogue from the Superflex show, who basically strawmanned analytics on his last podcast, by the way. But I like him, but that was some harsh shit. But he's been talking about drafting 5-state quarterbacks and Superflex startups. Where are you at on that?
So we were on the open bar.
You were there too. I just remembered John.
You guys got like laser focused on each other. It was kind of like watching two pit bulls duke it out. Nobody was letting go. But yeah, so I am interested to see if this keeps up, if we're seeing, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 quarterbacks go in the first round of Superflex drafts, how this changes, because it does. I'm still a late round quarterback guy, but the late round may be like round 2 or round 3 if so many quarterbacks go early. But you just did this. We're at pick 10, right? 1, 2, 3. So 6 quarterbacks are gone already in the first 8 picks.
And you basically got like Dak Prescott left, which I'm perfectly fine with being my quarterback 1.
Yep.
But the thing is, to get him, you have to pass up on Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, apparently.
No, he went to, but so you got Barkley and Kamara there, and Devontae Adams.
And you could basically, if people employ John's strategy, like that's who you get. If there's someone in your league just going straight quarterback, then there are Saquons and Alvin Kamaras hanging around a lot. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I would take any of those. So those three, Saquon, Kamara, or Devontae Adams over whoever is left for the quarterbacks. Even though I love Dak Prescott.
Saquon's going behind Jonathan Taylor in this mock, which is just. Remember when he was worth 3 first before he even played a game, and now he's worth less.
But that's that's the thing. Now we're to the running back, like trade running backs before they. I know that we're sitting there going, Nick Chubb is going to last forever, and who Derrick Henry is going to last forever, and Christian McCaffrey. But like we're at a point where like Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, Nick Chubb, those guys are all right at that age where in 2 years we're not going to be talking about them.
So on the turn after Barkley, Dak Prescott, Lawrence, Kamara, then Hill.
So we're going to start with
Barkley. You could have
Barkley and Devontae Adams.
You could have Justin Jefferson.
Or Jefferson? Oh.
Like if you want to lock in some value because we're not taking the quarterbacks, or AJ Brown if he's your flavor, or DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
And I get it. Like at this point, you're very far behind a quarterback, and
but you're
really
not
important.
Though.
I feel like I can get 3. You know what I mean? If I can spend my first 3 or 4 rounds on the studs and then just overdraft that second tier, that's kind of how I've always played it. Yeah. Like I'm fine passing up on those mid-round guys to get 3 straight quarterbacks instead of passing up on the top round guys to get the top end of quarterback. That still makes sense to me, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that like to me that's how you attack a draft like this where quarterbacks are going so early is you win at another position and then you're still able to hit quarterback. I mean, we talked about this the other day, but like if you're looking at the top 12 quarterbacks from last year, right? And everyone's hitting the Mahomes and Deshaun Watson and Kyler Murray and Josh Allen and whatever. But the top 12 quarterbacks are still populated by Ryan Tannehill,
right?
Tom Brady.
It's not the top 12 is a thing. It's like the top 5, top 3, top 2, top 1.
Right, but
that's the ones you want.
But that's the problem is they're not just getting the top 5. So like Kyler Murray, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, Deshaun Watson. Okay, great. Like I'm with you there. Those guys give you a positional advantage. Once you're out of those 6 players, and chances are one of those 6 isn't going to be in that top 6 again. Like, that's what Tyrell said. I don't think quarterback production is as predictable as people seem to assume, and I think he's not.
It's like right. It's like the least repeatable position. Like they repeat at a lower rate than any other position. Like the top 5 last year are least likely to be the top 5 next year than any other position. Patrick Mahomes is an exception. Okay, that's fine. But and again, Deshaun Watson went 3 overall, which is definitely not true right now. So I think that some more mocks need to be done, apparently. And I love that Lamar Jackson's still getting this high valuation because I think that's right. But remember when he was where Deshaun Watson is right now. Again, that's. Do you go Devontae Adams right now? Because even I'm like, no, I'm already battling at quarterback. Do I want to be battling at wide receiver next year?
It's either Adams or Justin Jefferson. Like
you go high or you go low, right?
Yeah.
What are the chances of Justin Jefferson, Juju Smith-Schuster? So he's the only other one who's hit quite as hard.
I don't think he will, but I mean that's always on the table. Like I will completely cop to that it could AJ Brown or Justin Jefferson there. Yeah, I like that. But
whoa. Just got
Kittle, A-Rod. Yeah, we almost AJ Brown was pretty close to coming back to us.
Almost, yeah. Let's see, Justin Jefferson, DeAndre Hopkins, and AJ Brown went, but DK Metcalf went 6th overall. Sorry, I
somebody did us a favor and took Baker Mayfield. That's nice.
Yeah, appreciate that. I don't hate his upside, but it's like I don't hate Nick Chubb. Like I kind of like him in 2021. But I think their value is different than it is, if you know what I mean. Like, I like Baker Mayfield if everyone hates him, and I like Nick Chubb if everyone's got him outside the top 12. But currently, nah. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So we're still not at panic mode with quarterback yet, because there have only been 13. There have been 13 come off the board. What do we got? Oh, you could go Kelsey, man. We could have the potentially the best receiver, the best running back, and the best tight end to start a draft, which is just ridiculous.
I like Terry McLaurin. You've got Michael Thomas.
Michael Thomas is still there? Oh, my.
Michael Thomas' fall is ridiculous. That's one that I keep forgetting because I don't think he's being undervalued.
Yeah.
This is a third round. Third round.
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. Cameron Ridley's still there. Terry McLaurin, all of which I like, not more than Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Even just straight up, Chris Godwin. Did I see? Did AJ... fucking Dobbins, Baltimore running back. Why can't I say his name? I think he must have gone.
Yeah, he did.
JK.
He went at 27.
I missed it.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, I thought one of them had fallen there for a second. I don't mind Clyde Edwards-Helaire here either. If you just want to stack up for next year, I think a running back at that value right now is pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know how I sound to Michael Thomas there.
I mean, to me, it's either Thomas or Kelsey, depending
Yeah,
and we're at a point now where we've already got an older running back and an older receiver, so we're going for it in year one.
Yeah,
win. Let's go.
Which will mean you're competitive year 3 is the thing. I think people
you
need more to win, but you're definitely competitive 2 years out with that team.
Yep.
Maybe not. Antonio Gibson, Terry McLaurin. Look, ADP likes.
Oh my goodness! There goes Hurts. If Kelsey falls to us here, then we just shut down the league. He did. You just take Kelsey and
I don't know I'm able to pass up some of these wide receivers or running backs, but yeah, I think that's probably the smarter move.
Just the positional advantage with Kelsey there, even if you only got him for a couple more years, that's huge. And then I think probably we're in the quarterback. Like when we come back in round 5, I think we're probably quarterback in 5 and 6.
Well, we got Kelsey after Kittle, which is pretty much where I would like to take him.
Yep.
I love George Kittle, don't get me wrong, but Kelsey's a value if Kittle's going number 1, I think. Is that me?
Oh, this is Andrew right in the chat. Andrew, this is a fantastic app, man. This is awesome.
It might be a little laggy. Yeah,
I don't care about that. This is awesome.
There's a lot of thinking going on, but I like the way it changes every time you click go. So it's not, you don't just get in a habit taking the same players.
Fields to, we're going to be in the lightning round with quarterbacks. We're going to want to take a couple here.
Yeah, Najee Harris went. Interesting. 4th round ADP here. I think Miles Sanders is falling though as well.
Yes, I think you're right.
I've got my eye on Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Miles Sanders as a running back position. They seem like 2 that are pretty likely to fall where I would take a running back, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Tua went though. That's kind of a shame. I was hoping for upside.
Yeah, I think people are sleeping on him. I think that he's going to be better than what people think.
No. James Robinson's still
there. Matt Ryan. I mean, so we got quarterbacks there. We got Matt Ryan still there.
Aaron Jones is still up there. Dang. DJ Moore. Remember when DJ Moore was worth, first round picks? Is that worth less than Najee Harris? Apparently.
Yeah, but now he's got the Jets quarterback that was just traded there. He's got Sam Darnold. So
yeah, he'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, why not?
Or worse or bad. I know for quarterbacks. I feel the same way about DJ Moore as they did a week ago. I'm not taking.
Yep.
Miles Sanders started the 5th. So did Aaron Jones. That's a really strong running back era. Apparently picked 2 to 4.
Yep.
All the running backs are going.
Oh, there goes Ryan. That's too bad.
That's a shame. Somewhere John Hogan's going, yes, it's a shame. Wait till you see what's left. I don't know. Let's see what's left, I guess. God damn it, Andrew. You build an app, give it to us for free, and it doesn't work instantly? Like, come on. What is this? What is this having to wait several seconds? You mean Pitts? Oh, that's true. Pitts is going to be the tight end one from now on. So, yeah.
Right.
To be fair, we're getting Pitts at a value if we take him the next pick. You know what I mean? We're taking him relative to his rookie ADP. I mean, Harris is already gone. We just need a couple more. Oh, Eckler's got a sharp ADP in the 5th round there. And David Montgomery. Dang. Here comes the Derek Carr pick. Yeah, pretty much. I've ended up with a lot of Derek Carr and mocks. Yeah.
Yep.
Derek Carr, Jared Goff. I've gotten a lot of Ben Roethlisberger and Tom Brady, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah. So where are we at with quarterbacks? I mean, like Brady's still there. Right?
Yeah, Andy, we decided we like this feature where you can choose your specific picks if you made trades and stuff. That was a neat feature.
Yeah, Brady's still there. I mean,
Brady, I'm not taking Jones and Locke. I don't care what. No. Yeah, and there you go. You got Derek
Brady and Carr. Wrap
Carson Wentz.
Yep.
Ben
even Darnold now is worth a so like not this round, but like if we went back to back here and then in the next comeback, if Darnold is still there or Wentz, those are. I mean, I don't mind taking a third quarterback as one of those guys.
See, you take Carr because you think he's going to get multiple years, but I don't necessarily think he's the best scoring quarterback next year, which is where my head would be at, which is why I think Roethlisberger, Brady, maybe Carson Wentz. I don't hate him in Indianapolis, you know.
Yep.
But
well, and even right now, I mean, you look at the rookies. You got Trey Lance, who, depending on how that shakes out with the draft. I mean, obviously, you don't know that right now, but.
Got it. It's Mitch Trubisky, Buffalo.
It's not Trubisky. No.
Yeah, who do you want to go with here?
I'd go with Brady here, but that's just me. So, or Wentz. I mean, either way, I'm happy.
Freaking Homer. You freaking Tampa Bay Homer.
Yeah, that's go Bucks, baby.
Go Bucks. Fair. No, I'm happy getting Tom, and I think Tom and Ben probably have higher ceilings than most of those other younger guys. And as we're seeing with quarterback teams, I'm too willing to move on. They're more willing to move on a little earlier these days. Carr's probably grandfather's in, but
yeah, and he's got that coaching staff in front office are kind of
stuck in their ways. Would you say?
Yeah, they're old school. We'll say.
Yeah, Carr's gonna. Oh,
there goes Pitts
until he falls over. Oh, there we go.
Tight end 3.
Yeah, literally, factually, he's tight end. Okay. James Roberts. I'm sad now.
Crushed.
I win anytime. If you got a chance to win, you just kind of have to take it. I think Dynasty leagues are tough, and it's tough out there in these streets.
Jerry Jeudy. So then we take our second quarterback. Do you think you want to go Wentz, or do you want to go? I mean, I could be talked into whatever, but.
Wentz, Roethlisberger, Sam Darnold, these are the highest variance picks I see. The ones more likely to be more valuable next year. But, I mean, I don't do quarterback. What do you think? Jimmy Garoppolo, like, he's famous San Francisco?
No. I'd probably go Wentz here. It's between Wentz and Roethlisberger. I have more confidence in Wentz than I do Darnold.
And if Wentz is just Phillip Rivers next year, his value's got to extend a little bit.
Well, it's a much better offensive line. He's got
until they draft a quarterback. Yeah.
But yeah,
damn it, Andy, fix this thing. No, this is actually kind of lit. Darren Waller went after Pitts.
Tell me, I guess we talked a little bit about this at the beginning, but like, that's crazy, right? Like,
I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're looking for the next Travis Kelce, the next Rob Gronkowski, the next very few who actually really matter, I mean, it's more likely. I mean, Waller's probably not going to be that guy, but Waller's much more likely to be that guy that you don't have to stream and to provide decent upside and can get you top 5. At quarterback, at tight end, you really need top 2, but he's that guy. So I don't mind saying Pitts could be that guy, but like betting a 5th round pick on it, I don't know. That's where I kind of I don't know about that. I mean, you've passed up on Jerry Jeudy, Allen Robinson, Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, any other 2020 wide receiver you happen to like, T. Higgins, not to mention tight ends we saw last year, they were okay. Albert O had good physical measurements too. Sure, he's on Denver behind Fant, but I mean, Noah Fant and TJ Hawkinson are still there if you're just looking for fucking young, probably get you points.
Mark Andrews, like they're they're a ton. Like
Mark Andrews is still there. You say it.
That's the thing to me though is that range of tight ends. So from like tight end 3 to tight end, I don't know, 12, 13, 14, 50, doesn't matter. Like that doesn't matter. So unless you think Kyle Pitts is going to be Travis Kelce or Kittle or Waller, maybe not even Waller, Kittle or Kelce, that's crazy. And putting that on him as a rookie is also crazy to me. There goes Carr.
Yep. Looking in that floor.
Daniel Jones, sorry.
Whoever
got him, I feel bad for.
Drew Lock also went.
Yep.
So, that's sad. I think it's going to be Sam Darnold or Ben, to be honest.
Yeah. I take so here's
why does San Francisco? By the way, why is San Francisco the only one who gets a funny little color to their name, Andy? What are you trying to say out here? Oh, Deontay Johnson went. That's fair. I mean, pardon me.
You
Juju Smith-Schuster's still on the board.
Yeah, I would say all I've got is quarterbacks up. Go back. Can you refilter it so I can?
I'm trying to, but it won't. I'm trying to, but it's not pulling up the little box. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think running back and quarterback right now. I think there's going to be plenty of wide receiver.
There goes Jamar Chase.
Andy. There we go. Andy, come on. For free, man. I'm paying you the big bucks. This should... And this is actually probably my internet much more than the app. I gotta tell you, I'm live streaming and I did find I've been playing music on stream, and obviously I can't do much because it's on YouTube, and apparently that's a violation. But I found Gabe's SoundCloud again.
Yes,
I was gonna start playing Gabe's SoundCloud. It really is. It's just
so good.
Sit there and listen to it. Keenan Allen's still on the board. So's Cortland Sutton. So there's Juju Smith-Schuster. So's Deebo Samuels. Chase Claypool. I'm probably not worried at wide receiver, especially considering we started, Michael Thomas and Devontae Adams
Michael Thomas. Yeah. We're doing okay.
Probably okay there. I think it's still good. And my internet sucks, and it was particularly crappy lately. Odell Beckham's on the board. Though. Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, I do actually, because normally when I watch it back, I'm just a fuzzy pixelated mass going, "I'm a nerd," and it doesn't look great.
Ooh, AJ Dillon. Everybody told me he was going to be.
Yeah, he was taken by this time. About 3 weeks ago, he was already off the board.
That was my song.
Oh, it's up
my song this week was kind of too. Who was that?
Let's see. We got Jimmy. Who are you looking at? Because we've got 2 quarterbacks: Tom Brady, Carson Wentz. Quarterbacks that have gone, or the players that have gone since our Wentz pick are Darren Waller, Aaron Robinson, Mike Evans, Brandon Ayuk, Amari Cooper, Daniel Jones, Drew Lock, Derek Carr, DJ Chark. Peace be with you. Deontay Johnson, Jamar Chase, Robert Woods, Travis Etienne finally went in the 7th. Above Keenan Allen, Trey Lance, Cortland Sutton, just sharp AF. Mark Andrews finally went. Chase Claypool, sorry, buddy, you don't get the second best wide receiver on that team. But yeah, I can't stop looking at those wide receivers. But it's probably another quarterback, right?
I mean, we can take Roethlisberger on the comeback. I think we'll be fine.
Think?
Yeah. So
I mean, you got Kareem Hunt. Don't mind.
That's the guy that pops for me. If we're looking running back, it's probably Kareem Hunt or
Chris Carson.
I'm gonna bet Javonte Williams is still on the board. So, but
doesn't have an ADP. So yeah, I guess he's still. Hang on.
Because I'd take him over the. Well,
Yeah,
I
you
guess
can take him there.
it depends on, but like I don't mind taking Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt is legit. Like he's probably a top 15 running back again this year. I'll take him.
I mean, it's nice to know you have the talent, even if you don't have the ceiling, because of where he is right now.
Well, I mean, he finished at running back 8 in PPR last year.
Yeah.
It's
so
unbelievable. Pass catching matters. Isn't that weird?
It's weird. It's like talent matters. I know. Kareem Hunt slightly more than a receiving back. I think,
Yeah. Oh, but they're using him as the pass catcher, and then he's got that extra juice on top. I mean, it's fantastic.
It's nice not to have to guess that Alexander Madison could be that guy. I mean, we know Kareem Hunt can be. So.
Right.
Kind of like the team. It's really hard for me to pass on wide receiver. I just got to get over that. I'm like, Chris Godwin's sitting right there. Motherfucker.
I mean, I wouldn't mind. Like, again, you probably need to take. Did Roethlisberger go?
I don't think so. Maybe if Andy playing with your app. No, Jimmy Garoppolo went. Trey Lance went.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Ben's still there.
So we could take Roethlisberger here, and then when we come back on the, in the next round, we can start looking at stacking wide receivers again, or wide receiver, running back, whatever.
No, I think you're ankling towards I can stack so many late round wide receivers. It's unbelievable. So I don't mind starting to think about Javonte Williams or whatever your favorite flavor running back is.
Yep. Well, I mean, Chris Carson there too. Just re-signed.
Just looking for favorable running back 2 weeks along with Kareem Hunt. That would be terrible. Yeah. I don't know. Oh, it's us. Taysom Hill is actually higher apparently. Sam Darnold, Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah, I think that's the choice is Roethlisberger or Darnold. The question is, how much faith do you have in Carson Wentz?
No, not a lot.
Then we take Roethlisberger, because if you have faith in Carson Wentz for this year, then I think Darnold is the pick, because then you have that potential to hit 2 moderately decent upside young quarterbacks. With Roethlisberger, I think you're guaranteed to have a quarterback that you can start pretty much every week. So.
No, I like Wentz as a potential got higher value than he's being drafted right there. Yep. But outside of that, I think our team just fades value at quarterback, and it's just looking for points, and that puts me on Roethlisberger.
Yep. Man, this is not a hip team. This is not a team that everybody would be excited. It's not sexy, but this is just a team that you could play any of the last 3 years and be like, imagine having that team any of the last 3. That's what a lot of my teams end up being. But that, I really think you got a chance to run it, in year 1, which is huge.
Thanks, Farrell. I might have quarterbacks for 2 years, or I might be trying to draft one in my rookie draft next year. But the way this and most of my Superflex teams go, unless someone falls, it's just I am going to be looking to restock at quarterback, sure, in the rookie draft or off waivers if a Gardner Minshew happens or whatever. And I'm just more comfortable with that. I know.
I like this. Steve says this is the greatest team ever drafted in 2018, but
exactly.
When I came on the scene in 2015, everyone was telling me Julio Jones was done. And then he put up 4 more years of 1,300-yard seasons. Like that's the thing. The value in Dynasty, especially startups, is if everybody else is going crazy young, you do this. You go after the league and win, and then your league is paid for 2-3 years, and you figure out from there.
And Michael Thomas is 28 as well. Like it's going to be a couple.
Well, and
more
Devontae
years.
Adams is what 29. I'm like, it's not like we're at the end of our rope. I mean, obviously Brady is close, and
last year
is close, but
last year, I couldn't wait to draft Juju Smith-Schuster in the top 12, and we always have young wide receivers pushed into that top 12.
Oh.
And then next year, it's more young wide receivers pushed into that top 12. So you just get the next ones, I guess. Not that I don't love him. I mean, Tyler Lockett just seems crazy. Did he do something to someone, or was it just that he faded in points at the end of the last year?
Yeah, I think that's it. And I think that people can't hold in their mind that DK Metcalf can be good and Tyler Lockett can also be good.
Right. Yeah. Like last year, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I like Lockett, but
no, I get it. I think John, that's why I like talking to him about it. I think John's strategy has value. It's interesting to think about him being more willing to stream at high value positions because frankly, I think just being more willing to stream is the next edge, right? To sit Patrick Mahomes. But that's the thing. I'm not a DFS player, and the few times I've played the small amount I play DFS teaches me we suck at that. Majority of us. Granted, there are people that make millions off it, but I don't know. I can ever bet to bench Josh Allen last year, even if only 50% of his weeks were in the top 5. There are very few weeks I would have been able to sit him.
Right. Well, and I struggle with that. So my home league is a 1-quarterback league, but my quarterbacks are Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, and Lamar Jackson because I have drafted very well, like rookie drafts. So I got Dak Prescott and then Lamar Jackson in rookie drafts. So feeling good about it, but figuring out which one of those guys is going to be the QB1 week to week is almost impossible to me. In fact, I lost the championship this year. If I had played, I think I played Lamar Jackson and I should have played Rodgers, or maybe it was vice versa. But I would have won the championship in spite of going up against Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen. But I got it backwards. So that to me is the interesting. If John Hogue had said, "Oh, I draft all these quarterbacks because I'm going to trade him," I'm going to trade them. I don't see that value often in Superflex leagues. I don't see quarterbacks get traded as much as people think.
See, I could see it. I understood it much more as if you draft 5, you can trade one away without having to get one in return, which means you can flip them, especially in season for those players that are drafted higher, and then you can kind of have the best pick of both worlds. I like that, but in the open bar, he definitely. I got cut off, but he seemed to be more saying you draft them to stream them.
Yeah,
and all right, I just have questions.
But see, you don't. Steve says Tyler Lockett's great if you can pick which week he scores 5 and which week he scores 50. But that's the thing. If Tyler Lockett is your wide receiver 3 or 4, it doesn't matter. The weeks that he scores 7 or 8 points, whatever wide receiver 3 or 4 you've got are going to score 7 or 8 points. But the weeks that Tyler Lockett scores 50, he's going to win you weeks. That's the. I think people get so caught up in the floor ceiling that variance is actually valuable.
Yeah, it's name the wide receiver you think is consistent that isn't true of, and look, it's all running back. Frankly, I mean, it's a little more consistent, especially when you get in the top 5, the top 12, which is why we prioritize those guys. But running back works the same way. I mean, we just think about it as a wide receiver problem. Consistency is largely a myth. Some players have some seasons that are remarkably consistent, like Devontae Adams 2 years ago, or last year for that matter, and where it was always the right decision to kind of play him. Most aren't. That's not most weeks.
Right.
I was looking for that data I sent you actually, and I can't find it right now because I was gonna literally say, "Hey, look at all these wide receivers that are just as inconsistent in terms of percentage of weeks that produce this or that." And I guess I'm failing. I'm failing live. This feels bad, man.
No, you look good still.
Oh, thank you. That's blatant lie, but I appreciate it.
Where are we at in terms of picks? We must be close to our next one.
Apparently, we've taken 2. I think.
Do we time out?
No, I think it broke. And we took Ben Roethlisberger. There's a gap in picks here.
I see Michael Pittman went, so it must be our pick.
Oh, it's our pick. I just can't see who else got taken. And wide receivers on the board, by the way, include Rashad Bateman if you're just that desperate to get youth. And there's plenty of rookie wide receivers on the board right now.
Yeah, I mean,
I was talking about we wanted to draft.
I would say you got Bateman there. You got my guess is Rondell Moore, Smith, and you got Devontae Smith. All 3 of them, I guess, are on the board.
Yep. Sorry, this is bugging me now. I can't find the thing.
Or Javonte Williams if we went back to running back because we've only got 2 of them.
Javonte Williams doesn't have an ADP according to this thing, so
we can't draft them.
I guess. I'll try it. On. No. Oh, whoa! What was that? Come back here. Yeah, there he is. There you go.
Not Javorius Allen.
No, not Javorius. That would be the wrong pick, Pete. Yeah, I got you. Did it take him for us? Oh, yeah. Something happened. It's happening. It's all happening. Williams happened.
Woo.
I know it. Exhilarating, right? We've got youth,
I like it.
We've got age. We've got production. We got it all.
I like
now in the off season. It's really easy to take a victory lap over a fictional team no one's going to see play out. It's almost like.
It's amazing how many people though do this. Wow. I mean, I'll be on this app and mocking. I mean, especially coming into rookie draft season, I'm curious as to what ADP says I'm gonna end up with at like 108, 109 in a 1 quarterback league. Like that's where I'm sitting. I lost 3 championships on the throw from Josh Allen to Stephon Diggs for the touchdown. And then Buffalo took all their starters out of the game after that. And it was against the Patriots, which was like a double wham. It was great.
Sorry, when I get something in my head, I have to know the answer to it. This is the usable week thing that I think I sent to you because you asked.
Yes, you did. Yep.
Let's see, Tyler Lockett. Let's see, 31% of his weeks went in the top 12, and so let's say top 24. 37% of his weeks went in the top 12. That was below average for wide receivers 1 to 12 for sure, but it's after wide receiver 17, I guess, and drops the average there is 54%. So yeah, he was definitely below average for those top 12 finishes. He was very boom or bust, but so was Allen Robinson, Adam Thielen. I remember that personally. Robert Woods, who's basically sold as a model of consistency right now. Brandon Cooks, he was as variable as Brandon Cooks and Marvin Jones. So it's not that they didn't have a point with them last year. But, I mean, Tyler Lockett's just better on a better team with a better quarterback. Is more likely to finish up there again than Marvin Jones is. Put it that way.
Yeah.
And again, after wide receiver 17 or so, it just tanks. Like as variable as we think it is for wide receiver, it's kind of that way with running back as well.
Well, and that's the thing. So, like, I had Lockett on a couple of teams, but I was also starting.
His bad weeks also came back to back at the end of the season. Game 2, you just stopped starting him, and you missed most of those bad weeks.
He got injured, but like. I had a team where I was starting Justin Jefferson, Deontay Johnson, AJ Brown, Brandon Cooks, and then all of a sudden Tyler Lockett is the other guy that I threw in, and man, that was really fun.
Fair. Top 12 weeks for running back fade after. Well, look at that. It's actually few of them are getting highest percentages, and it's around about the same point. Yeah, wide receiver. 14-ish, just eyeballing it in 2020, and running back, it was. I'm gonna have to close this one. It's doing too much, but yeah. Look at that. We're at round about running back 14, and those guys are actually getting a lower percentage of weeks inside the top 12. So I mean, yeah, it's not true. It's just also true at running back, and we just feel it and think about it more. Wide receiver. So like, yeah. Top 12 wide receivers are as fadeable as top 12 running backs, I guess, is the point. Sorry, Steve was still talking. You do, but you can't. And like, that's all predictability of weeks. And again, to the point about Tyler Lockett, those weeks really, he got injured, and then it really started to tail off in the end of the season, so you just stopped starting him. So they're actually easier to avoid than some other players, I'd point out. But he was a lot fewer of his weeks went for top 12 than most of the players in the top 12, to be fair. Yeah, I think I broke your app, Andy. Like, it's just done with me. It's we got Javonte Williams. And just, again, if you're worried about youth, you still have plenty young and also
Bateman,
productive players.
Chenault. Yeah.
I mean, frick, if you like Laviska Shenault, he's still there. Some people like that.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what happens with the new coaching staff, the new quarterback, whether or not they feature him. But he's not somebody that I'm like running out of my. I'd take Bateman over him.
We can back up Travis Kelce with Robert Tonyan and Dallas Goedert, apparently. Zach Moss is still on the board. I have some interest in.
No, Zach Moss.
And again, as far as consistency goes, the two old guys we got are pretty much the only two of the only ones you could say are ever consistent.
Yeah.
Currently. Like, if you like Mike Evans, you can't not like Tyler Lockett. There we go. That's my rule. Oh. That was fun. I think it's pretty neat app.
Yeah.
Want to do another one? Or something
what
else?
do you want to do? Rookies?
Sure. Got a pick you want to pick at?
Doesn't matter. I'm easy.
All right.
Are we super flex or no?
Yeah, it's
okay.
Yeah, super flex.
Najee Fields, Wilson.
Do you want to take Kyle Pitts? If that's the pick,
I don't. 5? That's not where I would take it. But no. So
I'm at Chase, but
yeah, yep. I would take Chase, unless Trey Lance went to San Francisco.
Yeah, there are 3 players. I think there's a clear player at each position. It's T-Law, as I hear he's abbreviated to now, and Najee Harris, Jamar Chase, and Kyle Pitts. And like, if you have a shot at one of them, I just kind of default to the best, and everyone thinks is the best. So if it misses, we're all fucking wrong anyway. Like, I just kind of default to that list. I don't like playing rookie drafts as value. Like, the quarterbacks are going to be last forever. But then again, if I just did a draft like we just did in my startup, yeah, I'm probably going to lean quarterback. So it's
yeah.
You see what I mean? Like, if there's another top 10 quarterback sitting here, I'll be like, Ben Roethlisberger retired. I don't know what to tell you. I gotta go take. Would it be Trey Lance? I guess.
Yeah, or Mac Jones, depending on depending on where they land. So.
That's fair.
But
so how far down do you have to be to take I still haven't decided that. I would take
to take
even
Pitts. So
would you take T-Law over Kyle Pitts, even in one quarterback?
One quarterback? No.
I would take Lawrence over Pitts personally.
See, I'm not taking Lawrence until like 12 or 13 or 14 in a one quarterback league, because
you would take Pitts.
Okay. I would take Pitts. I would take. They're like I said, the 7. So they're the 4 receivers. There are the 3 running backs, and then it would be Pitts, and then I'd be taking like Elijah Moore, De'Ami Brown, Tylan Wallace, and then maybe Kenny Gainwell, and then we're talking about quarterbacks.
So you take Trevor Lawrence at the end of the first and Kyle Pitts. I don't know, what do we call that pick? 8-9?
Yeah. I think probably. In fact, like probably right. Yeah, probably 8 would be. Where are we at now? We got Rondell Moore's gone, Mac Jones is gone, Jamar Jefferson's gone, Elijah Moore is gone. I don't like picking
Terrence
here.
Marshall. No, I really don't like this pick. Chuba Hubbard's the one that stands out to me. Taylor Wallace, it feels a little early with that draft capital. And so I'm just staring at a decent running back in the second.
Yeah, but I'm not convinced Chuba Hubbard is that guy though. Like he's fine, but I don't like I have him much lower than where we're at.
Gainwell's still sitting there. To be fair,
Gainwell would be fun, but again, he's the player that I want to see where he lands. I think to me, it's between Gainwell and Tylan Wallace at this point. I really wish Elijah Moore had fallen one more spot.
I mean, we're taking Tylan Wallace in the second twice, and it's a 5-pick difference. Like, I hate picking early this year unless I'm really after one of those quarterbacks or Najee Harris.
Yeah.
Like, I want to trade into this range. I don't want to naturally have that pick, I guess.
Yep. Well, and I think that's the thing where, like, if you're in that range, there's a chance to trade back and make some hay. We're going to end up with, like, the same team. It's going to be tremendous.
Except for the fact we got Jamar Chase this time.
Yeah.
Seth Williams is sitting there. Kalen Hill, I guess.
Yeah. It's probably Kylan Hill or Brevin Jordan for me here. One of the two. And I probably wouldn't take it. What?
What do you think of Seth Williams?
Seth Williams is okay. He's my 12th receiver, but he was a really tough evaluation because his quarterback is so bad.
Like, he's Allen Robinson before he's Allen Robinson. Got it.
Yeah, like so. I don't like. I Seth Williams is okay. Like I don't think he's a bad receiver, but like his quarterback was so bad. It's really hard. Yep, I can. I
mean, I can look it up. I didn't make
no, it's okay. Bo Nix.
Okay. Take your word for that one. I don't know who that is. Okay, so you're on Brevin Jordan. Wow.
I do like Brevin Jordan.
I'm on record as saying I don't mind him as a third, fourth round pick, but like, oh god, I hate drafting a tight end. Basically means you have to hold on to him for 3 years and then drop him, or they hit. Like the choices.
Well, but most of the leagues I play in have a taxi squad, so you get 2 years free. So your rookies and sophomores can be on your taxi squad. And I don't mind taking Kylan Hill there either. Like Brevin Jordan, Kylan Hill, like either one of those.
Well, you're the captain now, I guess.
No way.
I guess I better do more research on Kalen Hill. I've drafted him in 2 rookie mocks. Apart from that brief lookup I did live, I don't know who the fella is.
That's the one that's gonna really bug me is Amari Rodgers. And if he ends up, there goes Jalen Darden. Somebody was paying attention to the chat earlier.
Kalen Mond actually went at the end of the 3rd round in this one. It wasn't drafted in the last one.
I saw that.
Sage Surratt, Marquez Stevenson, Dwayne Eskridge, and then Jalen Darden. Yeah, there he is. The 4th round. We lost Seth Williams. That makes me sad.
Probably Elijah Mitchell, because we already drafted a tight end. We don't need 2 tight ends. Or Jarrett Patterson could be a fun one.
I mean, I just go for the high T level running back, I guess. There you go. There we go. We're symmetrical. 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs.
Look at that.
Walking the wall. I really do have to look into demerit. You said Felton, and you said he played a multifaceted role.
Felton doesn't know whether he's a running back or a receiver. He's just an offensive weapon. Kenny, your boy.
Kenny, your boy. That's just the best name. I'm so drafting him somewhere. Your boy in the 4th round over here. Nice. And that's all she wrote. You're only allowed to do the 4 rounds, I guess.
Oh, they don't have you can't do a 5? We gotta talk him into giving us a 5th round.
I tell you what, man. If this free app really needs some more features. That's what I say.
Because that's my home league actually got 6 rounds now. Kyle is just off the hook, man.
I'm really tempted to see what my team looks like if we go 101 overall. I mean, it's just Trevor Lawrence, so
yep. I mean, yep. So I have one 101 pick, and you're gonna laugh because I got the 101 because I traded Derek Carr before the season last year for a 1st round pick, and that 1st round pick became the 101.
That's rough.
And so I traded Derek Carr for Trevor Lawrence.
That sounds nice.
Yeah.
Oh wow. You actually.
Oh my goodness.
Not so bad. You get Rondell Moore if you want him, Devontae Smith if you want him. When Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Najee Harris, which is just standard at this point. Trey Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Jamar Chase is pretty much locked in the top 6 there. Yeah. Travis Etienne, Kyle Pitts, Javonte Williams, Rashad Bateman. Your boy. Mac Jones went a little earlier, then Jalen Waddle, and I always forget the rookie drafts aren't snakes, so you get the next pick. I guess you're on Rondell Moore.
Rondell Moore, yeah.
Oh, I hate it. Yeah. In fact, I love it. What the hell am I going to have to do to draft Elijah Moore this year? Basically, is my question.
You got to get the
mid-second round pick. It looks like,
yeah.
Nowhere else. He goes there every time. Seth Williams went at the end of the 2nd.
Man, that would have been really nice if we got De'Ami Brown back in the 3rd. I would just go. I would just be done. I'd probably trade away my 4th round pick if I get those.
And again, we're back to Kalen Hill. We better really like this freaking guy. I'm just gonna take Michael Carter unless you got just to shake it up. Kyle Trask fell there. Any thoughts on him? I
have not watched him. He's very, very slow and not a quarterback that I'm on unless he goes in the 1st round, which I don't believe he will. Because Amari Rodgers, where are we now?
Start of the 4th. Lawrence, Rondell Moore, Michael Carter. I guess we have to take a tight end because we've gone quarterback, wide receiver, running back.
No, if we're going to take a tight end, is Long still? Yeah, Hunter Long is the guy.
Honestly, Caleb Mond.
Mond might be an interesting stab there. I still think Elijah Mitchell is. He ran a 4.38 at his pro day.
It's again another player I haven't really dug into it a lot, but sure, we'll go double running back, whatever. I'm really under-evaluated outside of what I'm learning here is mid-round 3, and I basically run out of players. I'm okay.
Here's the good news, though, is this is not a particularly deep class, so all of these guys are just like, okay, like that's fine. I think Larry Roundtree is an interesting player in this range. I think Hunter Long is an interesting player in this range. I think Elijah Mitchell is an interesting player in this range. Obviously, Jarrett Patterson is. But
where could Jarrett Patterson go that you're really looking to draft him?
Initially, I was hoping he would end up in Seattle, but Seattle re-signed Chris Carson, so that kind of kiboshed that. I don't know. It would be interesting to see an actual running back in Buffalo. It would be interesting to see if he went to New England and they used him in the Sony Michel role that Sony Michel can't play. Like that sort of thing. What are you doing? You're just flying through this, Elijah? Oh, you got Elijah Moore.
I went for the 6 picks. Elijah Moore. I got Najee Harris because, interestingly, Jamar Chase and Najee Harris are flipping. Two
I think you're
quarterbacks.
going to, and I think
One of
you're
those
going to see
guys.
that. Yeah.
Two more quarterbacks and then the other one. So
Look at this. This is where you want to be. You're going to end up with Najee Harris, Elijah Moore, and then you can take your Seth Williams and just be super happy about life.
Basically, I get all the players that will sit in my roster and fade to nothingness, I guess. I don't get Taylor Wallace here, but we can live with it. It's really very much, you do seem to have to make a decision between Elijah Moore, Taylor Wallace, and I guess Dimey Brown is the other one.
Yep.
Like if you want one of them, you either have to have back-to-back picks or choose. After Seth Williams, let's see. Yeah, I'm just kind of flying through this one. Sorry.
Let's see, you get Kellen Mond here too. Look, you just get everybody you want.
Everyone I've mentioned, like all my favorite. Well, not really players, but yeah, they. Why not?
It's the all Peter team.
I guess those aren't really my guys, but I was just wondering what happened because Elijah Moore kept falling to this pick. Like I kind of, I don't mind Najee Harris followed by Elijah Moore. I think that's
a good start.
Or Taylor Wallace.
No. But I think it gets really like the basically after Elijah Moore, Tylan Wallace, I think it gets really thin.
Yep. And you're not a big Jamar Jefferson fan, right?
Jamar Jefferson's okay.
Above or below Chuba?
Above or below who?
Chuba Hubbard.
Oh, above Chuba.
Okay.
Yep.
I don't know.
I'm seeing a ton of love for Trey Sermon, and that like I don't understand that. And it may be NFL love too. Like I don't know, but a lot of people are like, "Oh, Trey Sermon," and I'm like, "No, Trey Sermon."
He's the one that switched teams, right? I think I broke.
Yep.
I did a first look of him, and yeah, I don't know. He's kind of below average for good running backs on both teams. So, like, he had two shots, and it's not that he didn't earn a role, like a heavy role at both, but not as heavy as good players on those teams have earned. If you know what I mean.
And he wasn't much of a pass catcher. So
yeah.
Okay, so he's not a great player and he's not a good pass catcher. So why is everybody on him, man?
I think it's because he traded to a popular team, did he not?
Yeah, he went to Ohio. Yeah, he went from Oklahoma to Ohio State. Yeah,
it's all that live Saturday night football coverage. That's what they say.
See that I avoid that because I don't watch college football in season. I only watch it when it's all done, and I can watch individual players and not have to deal with entire teams.
Right, it's like the NFL. You just get a bias about watching football and being interested in the game. You really shouldn't bother with any of that. Just messes you up as well. I'm really upset about what's his face. I guess I'm not that upset, but Isaiah McCoy not even having draft capital is a little upsetting. I think.
I feel like
he is in here. He just isn't showing up on the sheet. All right.
I feel like I keep writing his name down.
I mean, it does suck that NFL teams aren't going to be interested. That's probably all she wrote for Isaiah McCoy, but Justin Watson got put on the Tampa Bay death chart, and I guess he has a Super Bowl ring now too. I don't know, but he was impressive in college, I think. Do you have my guy in this draft class? I guess Jamar Chase.
For me, it's Rondale Moore is my guy. And then I mean, like I really like Rondale Moore. I like Elijah Moore, but he's I know that he's one of your big
I do. I stopped talking about Elijah Moore. It just felt like everyone liked him, and it was the same with Rondale Moore. But now I'm learning that not everyone does. So I guess, I really like Rondale Moore. I do think he's more likely to get drafted, believe it or not, than Rashad Bateman in the top on day one.
And that's the funny thing about it is, and I know you did your entire show talking about how the kind of the way the NFL drafts conferences and being from Minnesota. Oh my goodness, no, that's not Ryan McDowell. It's just Dave back.
Hopefully he rubbed off on me.
Oh, look. Big Dog came back. Name dropper himself.
Well, when the big guy tells you, like when I tried to be as accommodating as possible, Ryan, and I was like, all right, I want to make sure I got to talk to you gentlemen. And that's just how it went down I was like, all right, let's go. I'm game.
Shoot. What time is it? It's 10. Dang. I think I agreed to be on a podcast tonight, and I might have to go do that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Why
yeah.
Was it Peter's like, yeah, Scott Fish wanted me on. So
no, I forget who. And they
Bill Belichick's podcast.
I just got to go talk to my friend Russell, second name Wilson. I don't know. He's got a podcast these days. Aaron Rodgers called. No, I know no one.
Aaron Rodgers is doing Jeopardy tonight, don't you?
I don't even know.
Me. Did you guys see what happened to Aaron Rodgers on Jeopardy? Unbelievable. That's too funny.
I don't even know Ryan McDowell. He lives down the road from me, and I don't, get personal calls from Ryan McDowell. Just let alone NFL talk. I've really got to figure out what podcast that was. They haven't messaged me though. You'd think they'd send you a link. We were just talking about this year's draft class, and it really seems you have to make a decision in that second round between Elijah Moore, Taylor Wallace, and Dimey Brown. Like they go kind of all in the same range. And Zach basically said Rondon Moore is the best player to draft in this class, I think is what he said. So.
At that decision point, are you guys leaning Elijah Moore, or are you guys going a different way?
I would take Elijah Moore. Like if the decision is De'Ami Brown, Elijah Moore, and Tylan Wallace, that's how I would rank them. I have Elijah Moore 5, De'Ami Brown 6, and Tylan Wallace 7. But it's not. I mean, like again, there's not that much separation there. I couldn't fault you for going a different direction.
I think the NFL draft's going to make the decision a lot easier for us, probably. So
yeah, I'm kind of waiting for that because but I can't decide between Taylor Wallace and Elijah Moore. I guess Elijah Moore because Elijah Moore comes from the better conference. He doesn't have that nasty 4-year thing, and people I respect care. So whatever.
I'll tell you, a lot of the pushback though on Elijah Moore is that he's a slot receiver. It blows my mind. Like it's so funny because you did that probably 2 months ago. You did the show where you were like, "There's no such thing as an alpha." That's a horseshit term. And now I see people put that out on Twitter all the time. Alpha. It's like when your friend buys the Black Ford Fusion and then all of a sudden you see Black Ford Fusions everywhere. It's that same thing. Peter was like, there's no such thing as an alpha. And then my entire Twitter timeline is just like alpha.
And my point there was it's content specific. As an animal, we don't really operate as an alpha group. I mean, fucking in a football room, Zach's the alpha because he's a high T film watcher. I'm always going to look at the little beta. But
he's played some serious basketball and baseball too.
On the other hand, all three of us kind of podcast and talk and try to get attention in a interview situation, kind of a lot as a hobby. And so you put us on a live stream, and all of us are able to alpha our way into attention a little bit. Sometimes you like to sit back. I've noticed, like right now. But we're all aware and able to do that. Whereas you put the most intelligent or high T level guy on a stream, and they won't know how to necessarily do that. And so as an animal, we don't necessarily have that alpha turn. But also, like Jarvis Landry's been the alpha of a team, and he's like the definition of slot by playing a high touchdown role, which doesn't take you out the slot. By the way, right. Like that's a different thing, and it's just. I get it. Like I find myself leaning on that idea of Allen Robinson is the alpha type or the X or whatever you want to call it versus a Jarvis Landry. But it's really about how good are you at doing whatever it is you do. Yeah. And when you look at a rookie class, I'm like, so few of these players are going to be any good at the next level because of opportunity, burnout, and maybe some of them aren't good because of, just their lives don't work out or they have personal situations, but it's, whatever it is, there are so few that actually do it per class. Like, why would you care that I got the Jarvis Landry instead of the Odell Beckham? Like, you're lucky to hit on either one.
I remember when people were calling Tyreek Hill an alpha in the draft, right? That's what everyone said. Oh, Tyreek Hill's an alpha, right? That was part of the analysis. I don't think that nobody said about Tyreek Hill being an alpha, right. And he's the wide receiver 2 for a lot of people in Dynasty. Sometimes a wide receiver. It doesn't. It reminds me of the whole vacated targets. I always had heard vacated targets, but after Peter did that, wrote the article, did the podcast, it's now like it's seared in my head. Same thing with the alpha word on a podcast. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that.
It's
like everything else, though. Like, I enjoy memeing that there are words that get continually tagged to me because, they know it's going to trigger me. But like, I wrote out this whole thing and the conclusion was there's something here. It's just not what people are presenting it as. And that's not, no one hears that. It's not. So there's some sort of relationship, but it's not they're there and someone's got to peek them up. That's not it.
Peter, you gotta listen to the first 6 minutes of the Dynasty Dummies show this week. You don't have to listen to the rest of it. You don't care about quarterbacks and tight ends. But the first 6 minutes, I talked about unlearning things because people come in with preconceived notions, vacated targets. Preconceived notions, the alpha wide receiver, and they don't listen to what actually is going on. You don't have this conversation where if you come in with a preconceived notion that is wrong, you just want to beat somebody over the head until they accept it as right instead of learning. And I think unlearning before you learn sometimes is
it's how
huge.
Difficult it is to application is tough, and that's why I don't try and do some things. Like, I can learn about tape and I can value people's opinions on tape, but if I try to apply it,
no.
I learn by doing. Maybe not everyone's like that, and you learn by how you screw up. And the more I do statistics, the more I realize it's about several things. One, learning how little anything can tell you. Right. Then learning what can tell you some little things, and then learning that there's a big difference between that and actually applying it effectively. And no one wants to hear about the other two things. Very few people want to hear that nothing matters, or nothing matters in the way that you think it does. And it's like, I hear and read things on Twitter, and I'm like, that could come from my mouth. Like, you could have said that, taken that from something I've said. But if that's all you've taken away, I've done fucked up. Like, you've missed. Like, that's not it. That's not how you apply that information. And so, it's really weird. The more you go into trying to present how to play Dynasty, the more you learn. It's like people are going to take some people, because they don't present it well enough, are going to take a piece of it and it's going to mess them up because they just it's like, oh, he crossed the dominator threshold. Yes, but did you hear the other words I said? That's not,
Well, and even understanding what the dominator threshold is, and understanding, again, that's why you and why Dave, why you guys are people that I go to, because especially for analytics, because you're so upfront about, look, this only slightly matters. It's mitigating failure. We're going to give you a 15% better chance of hitting. But if you take that 15% and you make 100 decisions, that's hopefully a big 15%.
But it's it's one of the things. I rail against vacated targets, and I think a lot of people now know that I don't believe in vacated targets. But then when people ask me about situations and projections, I'm like, this circles back to who's left on the depth chart, and they're like, "But you said." I'm like,
but it's a matter of it's good play. Good players drive targets. The better player is gonna get targets.
You circle back to it. That's the thing. You didn't start your argument by saying vacated targets, blah blah blah. You didn't say vacated targets. Oh, I don't pick a brand out of the hat. That's gonna be good. Denzel Mims is gonna be good. No, it's I like all these things about Denzel Mims, and also there's a target opportunity available for him. That's kind of that you didn't leave.
He's got a chance to climb the depth chart, which means he's a good player, which means that he could potentially earn targets.
Yeah. It's so awkward because I remember, like, I spent a lot of time thinking back on what I used to say and think, and I'm like, man, I was an idiot. And I know now I'm an idiot, but at the time I thought I discovered something. And so I try not to be too harsh on people these days. I used to love being harsh on people, but I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when I used to I used to think I could know things. Yeah, that was fun. And then you just get like a couple more months into it and you're like, oh wait, what I've learned is that it is relevant, but the relevance is almost insignificant. That's the problem. It's not. It's like the part that was missing was how little it can tell you. Okay, cool. Neat. I'm glad I did all this years of week. That was great. That's great. But it's really weird, especially with rookie evaluation. Like, I think I have such a better idea of how to do rookie evaluation now, and I'm ending up in similar places, but I'm understanding where, and that's having me thinking about value a lot. Like this year, it's like I'm trying to be more cautious with, like, I do not see Terrence Marshall hitting, but I am very aware he could. You know? And before, it just would have been so easy to go, yeah, it's definitely not. And then because most players fail, he'll fail, and I'll feel like I knew it was coming, when really it's just there's an element of luck there. There always is.
Well, and it's also with the rookie evaluation, there are so many more pieces to that puzzle than just the player. So Terrace Marshall, I don't necessarily like as a player, but if he ended up in, let's just say hypothetically, Los Angeles, and ended up with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp gets hurt, or whoever it is gone, and now all of a sudden you've got Matthew Stafford, who's willing to throw the ball up deep to a wide receiver. You got Terrace Marshall, who, when he is at his best, wins at the catch point down the field. You've got a chance for him to climb that depth chart because the other wide receivers, aside from Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, are not great. And if one of them got hurt, now all of a sudden you have a chance to be the two. So, like,
good enough in some small situation where he could look like he's better than he is. Well, but even then, though, I lean on like Robbie Anderson. Like, Robbie Anderson was the tallest man in a world of midgets on the Jets, and I was like, that's it. That's what his profile is. And then he goes to Carolina and he's cooking DJ Moore, and I'm like, fuck, what have I missed? Like, he strongly just bulldozed DJ Moore last year for opportunity, and I was like, what the hell? That's not meant to happen. It died down eventually, and he couldn't score touchdowns, but like, I don't know. Every now and again, there's something to shake your faith. Preston Williams wasn't just Miami, and Rondo and Robbie Anderson wasn't just. Both have 19 breakout ages. Preston had 20, and they looked okay-ish, but I didn't see good enough to bulldoze better players. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was a situation, best situation. Right. I still can't explain those two. I don't know if you got anything, but I'm like, okay.
I think sometimes we have to remember that too, that it's not all about like Dynasty isn't just about scoring points, unfortunately, for some people. There's a lot that goes into it. So maybe I don't like Kadarius Toney as very much as a prospect, but if I'm drafted with all people who feel the same way, who've been crappy on Kadarius Toney for 4 months, 5 months, or how long this process is going to be, oh sure, I'll take Kadarius Toney in the mid to late third round, no problem. And because he might have the draft capital, get some camp buzz. Some people start buying in, and then I sell them or I trade them away for a profit. Like, that's
the more I see of trades, and more I learn about trades, and more, like I've been saying, like, I have to get better at drafting players I don't like, because then they're easier to trade, and if their value spikes and everyone loves them, you're happy to trade them. But the few times I've tried it, like, I ended with a lot of Tyreek Hill his rookie year, and no one would really value it till his second year, and so I ended up selling too low, to be honest, until it got even lower there for a little while because of the piece of shit stuff. But yeah, that's a fair point. You have to. I remember Josh Allen slowly falling in the second round of one of my Superflex drafts because no one liked fucking Josh Allen, and he was getting towards me, and I was like, I'm gonna take him if it gets to me in the second round. I'm taking Josh Allen in a Superflex draft. And I was grateful when someone took him like just before me, and now I'm like, you should have gone and get that guy. Just because you don't like a guy doesn't mean you shouldn't draft him. You should have made an effort there.
But there's such a weird fine line tightrope that you walk, though, because Josh Allen, as a type is really that doesn't necessarily succeed very often. I mean,
it's like last year. Yeah, I was saying
he's a strictly, or was until last year, was a rushing quarterback with a very, very inaccurate arm with a decent deep ball,
which had followed him from college. It wasn't like that was unexpected. That's
right.
what he was.
So, like, that's not something that you like. That's not something that you should necessarily be chasing. But by the same token, in the second round or third round of a super flex draft, a quarterback that was taken in the first round of the NFL draft ought to be drafted.
No, it's experiences that last year I was like, look, I don't like Ruggs. I don't like his profile. I don't think he's likely to hit. But he's the first wide receiver taken in the NFL draft, and he's going at the end of the first round. And I was like, I might end up with some Ruggs. Yeah. And it was lessons like that kind of taught me that I have to do it if I have to do it. But in that case, it doesn't work out because it normally doesn't, and I'm glad I don't have any Ruggs.
but I also think that the upside of the quarterback doing that is way more. So it's kind of a cost benefit analysis too. So taking Ruggs in the second round you don't get the huge benefit that you did with Josh Allen or whoever it is that you took. I mean, I was in the Dynasty Happy Hour Listener League, and this was back the year that Mahomes came in, and I loved Mahomes coming out. Like I loved him, and there was a real big kind of schism where not everybody liked Mahomes. A lot of people were like, "Oh, he's just a gunslinger," and da 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 da. And I'm like, I liked Mahomes, and so Kyle and I actually traded back into the first round in a one quarterback league to take Mahomes because we'd already taken somebody in the first round, and I was like, nah, I'm not waiting for 210 or whatever it was. We're going back up, and so the only person we could get to trade with us was like 111, and we went back in. Now, I'm not necessarily advocating that was a good move. I mean, in hindsight, it was because it's Mahomes, but
that's what I mean about rookie drafts, though. It is a good move. You should get your guy in rookie drafts. Most of the time, I think that's a redundant phrase that doesn't mean anything, but I really think like it's just where we can do it. Like, don't let it fall to you. Just go get that fucker.
Well, and you can kind of figure out where you can make those moves. Let's see if I can, because I ended up, so most of my teams in Dynasty have A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson on them because those were the two guys that the last 2 years, and this year they'll have Rondale Moore on them. I mean, that'll be my wide receiver core will be A.J. Brown, Justin Jefferson, Rondale Moore.
I really have to dig into Jalen Reagor again. So I was thinking last year that would have worked for me. I remember taking Justin Jefferson and feeling like people were freaking crazy where I was getting him, and like that would be the guy I traded up for. But honestly, I liked Jalen Reagor a lot last year, so it could have worked out badly for me by going and getting my guy. I'm like, what did I miss on that guy? And I just realized I don't know. I have no idea.
Edwin Porras was talking about that labrum injury for Reagor a lot and how all the injury experts were talking about, hey, this is what's going to happen with that labrum injury. And people are like, oh, blah, blah, blah. They didn't really buy into it. Well, what they said exactly happened with Reagor. Honestly,
really okay. This just makes me feel like N'Keal Harry, though, and I let Zach make me feel better about N'Keal Harry because of Tom Brady, and that hasn't gotten any better. But carry on. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, I'm just saying, I think there's I
love Jalen Reagor still. I just don't understand. Carry on.
And actually, you said this in a pod or a stream or something, Peter, about how you can't buy Jalen Reagor isn't a buy low. I think you can get him. I think you can get him for Tylan Wallace right now. I think there are people who could. I think there are people who would give up Tylan Wallace for they would. There's a whole faction of the dynasty community who has the re-roll your first round picks that don't hit immediately.
Right.
That is a huge element. That is a very popular philosophy.
That's fair, and it's not a terrible strategy. To be fair, I'm not saying I wouldn't want to call him out either. I mean, that's fine. But and I did that rookie article of when to try and sell him back. And Jalen Reagor's fallen in ADP right now, and that's like a 94% hit rate. When we fall in ADP, like there's Tyler Boyd and a couple of others that ever get better. And that's the N'Keal Harry, and that's where Jalen Reagor is right now. So it's awkward. So if he's at a value, I like it. But if he's trading high, then it's real tough to do when we get the rookie. We're actually not that impatient when you go back and look at the history. Like when we fade players, they pretty much miss. And that's awkward for Jalen Reagor. And I love the idea there's an injury discount, but I don't know what to do with that. Like, I'm not a doctor. I don't know what to make of Philadelphia. They seem to be a bad team again, I guess. I don't know. Where is Jalen Reagor right now? I don't have. I'm pulling up the wrong one. I think he's dropped by like a round or something, which made me think he's dropped in value, but he's still hard to trade for. But I'd love it if he's not. If I can get him for a second round pick, I'd do that all day.
I don't think you can. Well, that's
difficult, right?
Well, so that's the psychological aspect of Dynasty, where it's really hard for somebody to spend a first round pick and then the next year admit that they are wrong and sell that first round pick for a second round pick.
Like especially at wide receiver. They take time, man. They take time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But last year,
but I think that if you can
drop 40 picks.
Yeah. If you can get over that psychological hang up, like I think that you can oftentimes win because you'll have idiots like us who are still hanging on to N'Keal Harry and Jalen Reagor and wanting to trade for them. And if you mitigate that first and get a second, that's better than spending that first and having N'Keal Harry spiral into oblivion.
It's all relative because Jalen Reagor's dropped 40 picks, but he's currently been drafted around Michael Pittman, who I gladly make that swap, Raheem Mostert, Leonard Fournette, Melvin Gordon. I'd trade any of those players for Jalen Reagor, and Jarvis Landry, who I would not trade him for. You know?
The most disrespected man in fantasy football, Jarvis Landry. It was fun. Go ahead.
People want to talk all about, hey, well, talk about Baker Mayfield of like, oh, he was in 3 games in tropical storms or whatever. I hear that excuse a lot for Baker Mayfield. Right. Well, they don't make that excuse for Jarvis Landry at all. I'll say that much. They're not necessarily being fair with how they apply that, and Jarvis Landry continues to fall in ADP.
You said Odell Beckham in a weird way there, but yeah.
I did not. I'm not sure if I wanted to go until 3 or 4 in the morning with Odell Beckham.
Are you still like clinging to Odell Beckham's 72-yard rushing game? As like
no, I'm just not necessarily his rushing game, but I am clinging to his year 1 to 3. Like I'm.
Oh yeah, he was. But yeah.
I just could not let go of what the hell. Speaking of which, like, where is Odell right now?
I don't know, but I got out of him and got Travis Kelce back at the end of last season. I traded what ended up being the 110 and Odell Beckham for Travis Kelce and a tight end premium, like a 175 tight end premium.
Oh, God, you're right. Odell Beckham's being drafted 21 spots above Jarvis Landry right now, so I guess technically he's being more valued. But, yeah, I mean, that's a weird thing about going through ADP because there are a lot of these players in this range I would just give you and throw in a second-round pick for Jalen Reagor, Odell Beckham, sure, TJ Hawkinson, yeah, sure. Dak Prescott, sure. Will Fuller, sure. And then there are all these other players that you literally couldn't pay me to take, like Melvin Gordon, Leonard Fournette, Michael Pittman. Raheem Mostert's in here. I mean, I don't hate Marcus Brown still. Brandon Cooks, I think, is a buy in this window. So it's all league specific because then it's who's on your roster and who's on their roster, if you know what I mean.
That's the whole difference. Is the dynasty startup is a totally different conversation than existing marketplaces in a dynasty league. I think that is the most misconstrued part of dynasty analysis, honestly.
Yeah.
Or no, that's actually, I went too far there. It's a misconstrued part of Dynasty.
So you think you could get Jalen Reagor with a second-round pick right
now? For someone who's hot onto Don Wall, someone who wants to take him at 202 to the 204 range, which there is a faction out there of Town Wasp believers. I think you can not easily, but that's something in the realm. Or maybe you tack on a third-round pick or something.
That's the kind of trade that's going to be easier on the clock. Like I've got Terrence Marshall right here. Do you want him for? Yeah, that's going to be easier to make right there. Instead of who do you want the 111? They're like, nah, I don't even know who that is. I'm sticking with my first round.
I'm saying I think that's one of the tricks of trading. Like if you're going to trade out, what's a solid price to get?
This year's 101
in a one quarterback
league. QB league. So Najee Harris. I know what you're looking for.
It's got to be it's like context. We need a lot of context in that. One quarterback PPR, but like what do you have on your team? What are you trying to get?
Yeah.
What do you?
Is that a no-brainer, Najee Harris, or is that a Chase get in there as well?
Yeah, for me right now, before the draft, I'll take the top of the process because Najee Harris, I think he's good. I don't have concern about saying that, so I'd take the running back. All else being equal, I'd take the running back over the wide receiver.
I'm taking 3 wide receivers over any running backs in this class because I think that there is a tier 1 of wide receivers, and then there is a tier 2 of 2 running backs and a wide receiver. At least for me.
If I'm in that position, I have no bones about making things unequal. In other words, if I'm at 101, I do not mind doing whatever I can to get a different pick. Because there are plenty of wide receivers here that could be my guy, especially after the draft, the guys I want to go get. Or just draft Chase over Harris. I'd be comfortable doing that too. But broadly, without the draft to really lean on, running back over wide receiver. As for the 101, here's a solid. I guess my general rule is a first-round pick this year is worth a first-round pick next year plus a second, just the next round pick. But if you're talking literally the 101, technically that has more value, and so you're looking at a first-round pick next year plus a late first round. I guess would be a fair way of saying it because it's literally you can have any player that you want in one quarterback leagues. I don't know there's anyone here that I would pay that for though.
Yeah, I think
if I'm speaking broadly,
I think I'd rather move down from the 101 than just trade it straight up for a piece because I think it's tough because it's tough. You can't get a lot of the running backs I want to get with a 101 right now because in the 1 QB leagues. And do I want to pay for a wide receiver with a 101 or some kind of package? Why not just trade back to the 103, 104 if anyone's buying and try to get some added value on top of that?
Harris or Chase. Yeah, that's the choice right there, man. And I'd be happy with either one of them at that spot. And if you're looking to go get that guy, what pick are you at would be my first question because Chase might fall to you. Depending on what happens in the draft at 103 even.
Yeah.
And so at this point, I wouldn't be making too much moves until I know what the draft does. But if Chase is your guy, you just pay what you got to.
And it depends on how much. Like it really depends on how much you're trying to move, and yeah.
If I have to say 105, and I don't know what your pick is, I'm more than willing to add in a first-round pick for next year to go up to get Chase, if that's what I think I have to do to get him. Because I think Chase looks great, but that's before the draft. It's really tough to say I would actually do that, pull the trigger, but I'd be willing to if that's where my mindset was. That makes sense?
Yeah, and I think earlier you guys mentioned this too. Are you guys willing to totally spend your 2022 capital to move up and get things in this class?
I always am, but especially 2022.
Especially this year, yeah.
Yeah, I think a future first and this year's second would be underpaying.
So, yeah, and I do a lot of, and I'm sure you've heard me talk about this, but like I'll buy on credit. So like I'll spend next year's pick, and then So if I want to move in I'll spend next year's picks to go move up because I'm going to get it's. And I think this is not talked about enough. Is your draft picks end up being kind of you regrow them like those every year. Like you have your draft picks every year. Boom! I have this capital I can spend, and it's coming. It's not like a player where their value goes up and down. You know that you're going to have these picks, and you also know that there are certain times of year that they're going to have the peak value. So and you can kind of figure out when and where to acquire them, and then when and where to trade them for the most value, and so it's tremendous. Like you always have those. Next year I'm going to have 2022 picks. The year after that I'm going to have 2023 picks. I know they're coming, so I can spend them and know that I've got the next year on the horizon.
I have tried to get more strategic about it because I would spend them on a whim early, but I mean, I want to go do something specific with them. So, like, trading up for Chase is a legitimate reason to do that. In season, trading one to really push to win, legitimate reason. Just to do it because I don't like firsts, used to be my old mantra. And you just get sad because you can only do it once, and then you don't get to be involved in the rookie draft because you already spent it. And so, yeah, I do it a little more strategic. But yeah, in general, I spend next year's picks to go do what I want to do. And I think Chase or Harris is a legitimate reason to move up right now. I'm a little more cautious on his landing spot or his draft capital, to be more specific. But I expect it. I mean, that's the thing. Anything can happen. There can be a picture that comes out during the draft these days, and that tanks him a round or two, or maybe, it's just a little more awkward. But a second this year and a first next year, I don't think you're getting that accepted, and I think it's an underpay. I think you're looking at paying this year's first plus maybe next year's first. Go up to the 101. Yeah, that's probably what most people would expect. Would I do that for Chase? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think if it's me, I'm probably trying to trade into the top 5
instead of just
instead of going to because I think the value, the difference between Chase and whoever you want, Devontae Smith, Rondale Moore, Chase, Javonte Williams, and Najee Harris. I think any of those 5 guys I'm going to be very happy with. And even if you want to, I see you making sad faces. If you want to put Bateman in there, fine. We can trade back to 6. Like that's fine. But like I think that any of those players I'm going to be happy about. And so that's how I'm approaching this draft. If I'm not taking a shot on, if I don't have my heart set on a specific player, which I don't, I tend not to do that. I tend to like target groups of players. So like last year, I would have been happy with CeeDee Lamb or Justin Jefferson. It just so happens Justin Jefferson was the guy who was falling. And I was like, wow, I can get Justin Jefferson at 108, 107, 108, and instead of having to trade up to 103 to get CeeDee Lamb. So I traded in, got a lot of Justin Jefferson.
See, for me, it feels like Lamb might almost be easy to trade for, even though he's more expensive, because it feels like regular players are going to be holding on with both hands because I believe. And Lamb players are like, yeah, that was good. It wasn't Justin Jefferson. And so I don't know. That's kind of where my head's at on who is easy to trade for these days instead of.
I would love to.
I'd love to trade for Lamb. That's what I mean. That's what's in my head right now. If I was in a position to trade for wide receivers, which I'm mostly not these days, I've got them. But yeah,
CD's getting pretty priced up there. I don't add his ceiling, but he's gotten pretty expensive the last month or so.
He should be.
He should be.
I mean, he really should be. Yeah.
But good. I mean, like we're talking like wide receiver 5 right now, wide receiver 7.
Yeah,
that's getting pretty expensive. Now, is there still room to grow there? Can he still get into the wide receiver 3 range? There's still room to grow, but it was not as pretty as it was last year when you could still got CD last year.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean,
actually,
if
after
Kyle
Dak
Pitts can be the tight end 3, why can't CeeDee Lamb? I mean, right now, according to March, I'm still waiting for the April update, but he's going as wide receiver 16th overall. Sorry, wide receiver 6. So yeah, he's up there.
I would really like the 101 for CeeDee Lamb right now. Yeah, I'd do that in a heartbeat.
Yeah. Because you already know what you've got with CeeDee Lamb. There's no there's not
in a single QB league.
Yeah.
I
still think that I still think that the top couple again, you're not I assume you're not drafting your rookie draft until after the NFL draft. So you see where these running backs land. If they're landing behind guys, then yeah, you're right. Ignore them. But I think Javonte Williams and Najee Harris, if they land in spots where they're going to be the primary back, I think I'm going to trust them just like I trust any other running back. I think
here's the thing about running backs, though. Like Jonathan Taylor, Swift, I know we expected a lot and we feel like we got that, but we got it for a small part of the season and it was pretty good. Like a third, fourth round running back should be, who has a great profile, to be honest. And yet, all of those guys are worth more than actually they're being drafted ahead of Justin Jefferson right now. Jonathan Taylor is like the second overall pick, and Justin Jefferson is pick 10. So, like, even if both hit their ceiling, running backs can't. Like, Justin Jefferson hit the highest ceiling a wide receiver can ever, and he's drafted below pretty good. Pretty good rookie season from a good, definitely above average running back profile. So that's the stickiness on not trusting these running backs. I don't disagree. It's just we like what we like, And next year, if any of these running backs do half decent, we're gonna love them.
And I think that's of the lack of a better the way robotic.
Yeah, roboting a little bit.
Nice.
We need some tunes for this one here, Zach. We'll wait a second while Zach clears up the main internet. I'm assuming he's got a direct line to him right now. I still think, like, Justin Jefferson, again, the hardest and wide receiver can possibly hit. He's being drafted both Swift and Dobbins right now, but I think people are interested. Like, there's a lot of talk around Swift for some reason, and Dobbins and Cam Akers. And, like, I know even when they don't hit, like, the heights of running back ceiling, they still get all this attention pushed up into the top 15 picks overall. And Justin Jefferson did what literally no wide receiver's ever done before year one. And yeah, he's in the top 6. Like, that's what you get. That's it. So that's the only cautionary note I've put on not liking these running backs. I don't disagree. Najee Harris is the only one who would kind of belong in the conversation from last year's class. But yeah, How you doing, Zach?
I'm here. Am I here?
I hear you. Your audio and your video is not synced, but
I'm hideously ugly Bob. So it's probably better if you can only hear me.
That's not true, but okay.
But no, was going to say, Peter, is the market is driven now by running backs, and so you're seeing somebody like last year who is fantastic, but you kept trying to get me to put him in the Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey tier last year. I remember you doing that, and I'm saying no, he's not. He's not a player who's going to get 150 carries and 50 or 60 plus receptions.
And that's because I didn't want to take him over the likes of Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb if he wasn't in that tier. But,
people look at it. Oh, he is incredible. Am I roboting again?
Sorry, dude.
But you're bad.
Okay. So he has this incredible
Sorry, dude. Space. Sorry.
My biggest question I have right now is trying to figure out if Javonte Williams belongs in that top 3 tier. Is like, because we were talking about because Peter, what you're trying to argue is that the upside of these running backs and the value they have, especially at the scarcity of the position, does Javonte Williams belong in that territory? And I can't make up my mind. It depends on the day for me right now.
For me, no. But
that's why I want to lean.
But that's the thing. I get how he could end up there. And that's because running backs are a little harder to profile. And we just love our running backs right now. I'm sorry, dude. I hate Maine, dude.
That's the worst feeling.
I know I've had it, especially on stream. It happens to me so much. It's not even...
Because I actually really wanted to get Zach's take on Javonte Williams because I think he's his really one. He's one, isn't he?
He loves Javonte Williams, as I remember it, but we should probably let him say it for himself when he can, because my memory sucks. But I do believe he really likes him. I think it might be his one, yeah. Swift and Dobbins will be okay at the end of the day. Just trust the talent. Again, I thought they were good. I didn't think they were Barclays, and so I didn't like their talent more than the top of the wide receiver class last year, but ADP kind of forced me into it. I felt like I was being hamstrung by ADP anyway. Zach auditioning for the T-Pain comeback album. Okay, dude. Agreed. Someone said Williams is Marion Barber, which is possible. Yeah. I don't have strong running back comparison. Like, I don't know if you run comparison formulas. Spaceman, I've tried a few and I've never found one I really like.
I do it more based on not comparison formulas. I try to there's certain
just have
I bin them. I try to bin them or whatever you call it, and it doesn't
work. It's better to have an idea of the player and then say, and that's because that's the best way I've come to it. Like, to me, Edney looks like Tevin Coleman, and I am told that is very, very wrong if you look at the actual players. But I'm like, there's something about their profiles that rings similar to me.
I thought he was here.
No, yeah, his picture was really clear there for a second. I was like, he's going to talk any second, and it'll be perfect. And we just got let down. I feel baited,
but
I'm just glad it's not mine that's doing it.
I'll be right back. Hopefully,
I think he said he was going to go and come back. Yeah.
You know what? So, Peter, when you said that you didn't think that. Specifically Swift. I think the exciting part about for me what Swift was he was getting the receiving work, which was huge. And then he was getting not an incredible amount of carries, but at times he did. There was a stretch where he was getting some carries as well. And then the goal line work. So if you're getting carries, goal line, and receiving work, that's like a trifecta for me. And then he has the athleticism to match it. And the draft capital, that's what I think was so exciting to me about Swift is that he was checking a lot of big boxes.
His production looked on the line below average and slightly below average to me. Athleticism rarely convinces me. I get that he had enough. And his production was okay through a few games at the end of last year. I mean, that just doesn't add up to that's clearly the running back one, which is some of the opinions I read pretty regularly. I'm like, no. I suck at running back. I can even hear you shuffling papers at this point, Zach.
So I'm back?
He's guessing.
Solid.
So you were saying
something running backs are overvalued, something. Like that was pretty much it. No, like
that was pretty much it.
Well, no, like I think that as a group, as a community, we've taken this like running back so far to thinking that every class is going to have a Christian McCaffrey or a Saquon Barkley or an Alvin Kamara, and that's not the case. And it's a lot like, I mean, all of these positions are similar in the top tier is really valuable. And then there's a huge middle tier that people overpay for at the top. And then the value is actually down in the bottom of those tiers. And you know, if all of a sudden you're going to say that Jonathan Taylor is up in that echelon with Kamara and McCaffrey and Barkley and like the guys who can produce an uber season. Kamara outscored the next closest player in PPR by 60 points. 60. That's a lot. And if you're talking about Jonathan Taylor or, somebody like that in points per game, Jonathan Taylor was 10 points a week below Kamara. So to sit there and draft him at running back 3 is insane. Even though I love Jonathan Taylor, he was my running back 1 coming out last year. And I think he should have been. Yeah. But now, man, if I can sell him as the 3 overall, I'm gonna turn around and call that a day.
Yeah, if we go through phases, just since 2014, the running back 1 in startup ADP rookie year has been Bishop Sankey, followed by Todd Gurley, then followed by Ezekiel Elliott, obviously, followed by Leonard Fournette, then followed by Saquon Barkley, and then we see a downturn with Josh Jacobs. Didn't really hit quite the way we thought. Then Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and then Najee Harris, I guess. If we see it in cycles, I think we're seeing a down cycle. It's probably towards the end of the down cycle, but
yeah.
Some part of Jonathan Taylor for me is that I get really worried that some of that passing production came from Phillip Rivers. There's just certain quarterbacks who target running backs more frequently than other players. The same thing with Drew Brees. Drew Brees with Alvin Kamara and Alex Smith with J.D. McKissick. I get worried of that certain quarterbacks will do that. And so then my question is, what if J.D. McKissick or what if Jonathan Taylor? Yeah, we were really surprised with how many receptions he had last year. I think he exceeded expectations. But what happens if that excitement goes too far with Jonathan Taylor? And I think that maybe it has a little bit.
Yes, it has.
As far as his receiving upside, it's good that he showed that he's competent, but or even better. He was better than competent as catching. But I think we have to also realize, just hold back before you're saying that like you guys said, he's that Saquon Barkley.
Problem is mentioning this again a year late, but everyone was into running back so hard last year, and it was pretty clear we're going to see a downturn. And last year was a wide receiver year; it felt very strongly. With David Montgomery and so many late round running backs hurt, and so many early round running backs getting hurt, and so many later round running backs paying off. That's before you get to James Robinson and Myles Gaskin, who are good. But mentioning that now is almost too late. We've got to start thinking about the next cycle. But yeah, another wide receiver year coming up. I don't know. And then again, not everyone enjoyed the wide receiver year last year, but to me, it very much seems like that was an uptick at the position.
Now I'm still RB. I still like Jonathan Taylor a lot. Don't get me wrong here. So I don't want to, and I'm fine with being at RB year last year. But my question is for you guys, a player that I started to become unrealistic on, that I think I'm pushing too high up, Brandon Ayuk. Where are you guys with Brandon Ayuk?
I have trouble with him because despite having a great rookie season, and I said that would convince me, I still feel the same about him. In college, he had one great year, one terrible year. Didn't know what to do with that. I don't mind his draft capital, but I hate freaking San Francisco. I don't think they are a fantasy-friendly team overall. I don't know if that makes them good or bad at football, but they're a tough fantasy team. Has been my experience under this coaching staff or my reading of it. And Deebo Samuel's coming back, and I'm not as convinced we know for certain who is the alpha in that situation. So I'm fence sitting. I am fence sitting on him. I think he's slightly undervalued based on his rookie performance, but I'm really nervous about investing in San Francisco wide receivers specifically.
I don't even think he's undervalued. I think
he's, according to ADP, he's right there.
Ayuk is going to continue to his ADP is going to continue to rise. It's been rising since last year. It's going to continue to rise, especially when San Francisco drafts a quarterback, and people are going to be like, oh well, it's not Garoppolo anymore. Now it's but you also Ayuk had a really good year last year, right? Without Debo for much of it, without George Kittle for much of it. So that's, I mean, he was good. Like, that's fine. He was good. But also, Debo Samuel as a rookie came out and had a 60 catch season with 800 yards and 3 touchdowns. Like, it's not like Debo is just chopped liver sitting here.
Yeah. But he's not an alpha. And that's literally the thing. And here's the thing. At this point, I think he can get Claypool easier than he can get Ayuk, despite the fact that it was different a month ago. Like you're saying, the one's rising, and I think the other's stationary. I kind of don't want either, but I'd take the cheaper one of the two. And Debo Samuel's cheaper than both. So, like, that's the guy that I'm really interested in. The wide receiver who had a good season and actually decreased in value, by the way, is Jerry Jeudy. He's the one that stands out to me as somewhat, there was disappointment there, and his season was decent.
Especially after they're out of the quarterback running right now. I think that's a theme that's getting, so I think that's even I think that's hurting. Like, I think that's part of the narrative, the psychology, like maybe Zach will say. But one more thing about Ayuk that I want to say is, Peter, going back to your hit rates, isn't it like for the receivers who perform like a CD and to an extent like Ayuk did last year, and even Claypool, say, and then they hit, they truly break out in year 2? Don't they hit harder? I've been hearing a lot of talk about that from Curtis Patrick, from a lot of Rotoviz people.
I don't know. No one's mentioned it to me. Something I found when I was writing that article, because I'd never heard it before, and I thought just more production is better. And so my idea was that you work into a top 12 season, for example. But on average, players that hit year 1 to 3, that's the first year they have a fantasy relevant season, let's call it, top 24, top 12. They typically break in at top 12 level. Like, they don't get top 24 and then top 12. They break in hard at top 12. So, yeah, in that way of looking at it, if your second year is when you break out, if you're going to break into the top 12, it's going to be that first time. And so there's no reason to suspect that like Jerry Jeudy or Claypool or Ayuk, who are outside the top 24, will start at inside the top 24 level. They could break out at top 12 just as easy. That's actually more common.
So that's kind of what I've been doing. Like, that's what, when I did with GJ Moore, I got him after his first year. I tried to, that's kind of been my AJ Brown, I got after first year in a lot of places. So that's kind of how my pattern with these wide receivers. Once I see something initially, because I've been burned by the N'Keal Harris, but I've been burned by, unfortunately, Corey Davis for a time. For a time, there, it felt like you were burned. And so that's kind of like my thing is, once I see that flash, then I'm like, all right, let's do this, baby. Let's go all systems up.
It's almost like we're just waiting to see who the hyped receivers are, and we want to buy the other ones. Like, I think Judy's a little underhyped right now, which means I'm interested. I think T. Higgins is going to be plumb forgot because, that they're going to make the wrong decision in the first round. And I'm like, he had a great rookie season. I really just hope people undervalue him. I don't know what to tell you. I think part of Judy's concern is that he did it without Cortland Sutton, and so he should have hit like Ayuk did without Kittle. I'm like, that's just not that's not a thing. That's not a thing for me. He had a good rookie season. That's it. I don't know. Any
that
thoughts?
Was kind of the Cortland Sutton thing was kind of the same way. Remember, he was inefficient at times, and especially in DFS. He was inefficient when he had supposed to have it, and then going to year 2, he exploded. Yeah, you could see the same thing with Judy easily.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm getting kind of. It seems like kind of a meme to just like, I like the guy who did that last time, but like that's where I'm at. I don't understand why Sutton's suddenly not good when he did what the players were really excited about right now did in his own second year. So like, why? I don't get it. I still like Juju Smith-Schuster, other than me.
Gosh, that not going to KC really hurt me.
I don't know. I like him. Obviously, he's entertaining as fuck, but I like that he's doing it different, kind of doing his own thing. But that doesn't mean anything for fantasy, to be very clear. It's not like that means clearly Pittsburgh's going to make him a top 12 wide receiver. I just maintain that he's never been bad. He's never been bad in terms of earning opportunity and then what he does on that opportunity. It's just last year he had such a low ADOT because you've got Claypool and Ayuk, Claypool and someone, Deontay Johnson. And, both of them are good in different roles. I just don't think they're as good in every role as Juju. And so he was the obvious one to go closer to the line of scrimmage. But every time he plays outside, he gets 100 yards or a touchdown. Like, he's just as good outside, I really think. But like you said, he's stuck with Pittsburgh, so it's not like it's a different thing. Speaking of Sutton, what is Denver going to do about QB? Don't know, but it can't get worse, in my opinion. They cannot go into week 1 with Locke again. They can, and they might. Never underestimate an NFL team. That's what I think.
Yeah, but Carolina trading for Darnold actually helps the at least potentially helps Denver with their draft situation, because Denver's picking 9th. Carolina was 8th, but now they're probably not taking a quarterback. You're assuming that the Dolphins aren't taking a quarterback. You're assuming that the Bengals aren't taking a quarterback. So now all of a sudden they're in the mix for one of those top 5 guys.
Yeah, Addison Hayes said that the real winner of the trade is the Denver Broncos, who didn't have to do a thing. Yeah. They just have a better shot at a higher quarterback. Again, I'd be really surprised if there are 5 great quarterbacks in this class, but I think they should take a shot if they have one.
Yeah, well, and I don't think necessarily there are 5 great quarterbacks in this class. I think there are 2 that are head and shoulders above. At least for me, I think Lawrence and Fields are head and shoulders above everybody else in this class. I think Zach Wilson shows you flashes, but there's some really interesting pieces to his game that I don't love. Where he's throwing the ball, he makes a whole bunch of highlight. He reminds me a little bit of Sam Darnold, honestly. He makes these highlight throws, and you're like, wow, that was amazing. And then the next play or the next 2 plays, he'll throw it in the middle of 3 defenders and get lucky that somebody dropped the ball. And you're like, wow. What? And the other thing about the way he works is he'll put the ball on receivers, but it's just a little bit off. And so the receiver's not able to catch and continue on after the catch. So his receivers didn't have much for yards after the catch at all. And part of that is on Zach Wilson. So he's like I can see how people dream on him. I can see how NFL teams are like, I missed out on Patrick Mahomes, who's the gunslinger, who has all these crazy arm angles, and so they go after Zach Wilson. But I don't necessarily think that's a great way to do things.
Yeah, never draft the next.
No, and I think that's going to be the trap with him. Trey Lance, I'm not sure about. He just doesn't have enough. And Wilson's similar, but Trey Lance was literally 1 year and then 1 game this past year, and that's it. That's all you got at North Dakota State. Good runner. He's probably the best pure runner in the class, but he also was a 70% completed passes. So it's the Josh Allen, but without the worry that he couldn't hit me if I was standing 4 feet from him.
I'm struggling with Chase and Trey Lance for me right now at 103. That's my struggle right now.
Yeah.
I want to go Chase. I'd like to say Rondale Moore, but I don't feel like I have to take Rondale Miller there. So, but that's my trait. That rushing upside, along with, I don't want to ding play Lance's inexperience. That's a big problem when you're analytically looking at quarterbacks. You want them to hit certain starting thresholds. However, we're not dinging Chase for opting out. Are we going to ding Trey Lance because of what was going on for COVID? It's really tough to do that.
Yeah, no, and I totally, like.
And I wasn't saying you were. I'm not saying you were either, Zach. Sorry, I shouldn't say
like yes, he was. I heard him.
I can only evaluate players on what I've got. I mean, it's the same thing to me watching the film and looking through the numbers. It's very similar. I mean, I'm taking what I see on film and try to quantify that. You just have concrete numbers that you can quantify, so it's a little less subjective. But I'm running into the same problems this year, trying to analyze this class because it's such a funky year, and I think it's going to be even worse next year because you're going to have all of these like crazy sophomore junior seasons that don't, like, how do you, I don't know, like it's going to be wild.
What's been crazy too is that there's these older players that, like, there were players that were coming in and then they got the extra year back, and I feel like there was a bunch of players who I thought had declared
that went
back. So they're just in there muddying the water for these younger guys.
Yep.
It's
Yep. Yeah. I can't tell you, Mr. Ruggs, I don't know why Chris Sims loves him so much, other than, again, it's you miss out on Mahomes, and so you've got to go back and make up for it. And that, like, once the horse is out of the barn, shutting the door does not do you one bit of good.
Everyone had a shot at Patrick Mahomes. I mean, Kansas City traded up to get him, but he was there pretty late in that first round if someone wanted to go get him. It's always too late if you're looking to draft the next version of something.
Yeah.
You're looking for the next version of something new or different, a different way of. Again, it's why perfect isn't always perfect in a profile. It's like, that looks exactly like what you want, so it's probably not going to happen. Okay, so they all look a little different, man. It's kind of weird. I'm gonna have to get out of here though, guys. It's been like 3 hours. I'm tired. I want to go eat pizza too. Okay,
that's fair.
I hate to cut you guys off on my live stream. I really appreciate you showing up though, because I really didn't expect anyone to. Yeah, do you got anything you want to tell people about? We've sustained like 10 viewers the entire stream, which is really unusual because usually it's just me. Having you handsome beasts has really helped out, so I appreciate it. All this fantasy meat for all sake. But yeah, do you want to tell everyone where they can find you or where you live stream personally? Sorry, I was looking at Zach when I said that.
I don't live stream. I have robot internet. Like, there's no live stream here. But yeah, look, I'm the Dynasty Dummies podcast. I record over with J Mike, who's at J Mike Check. Oh, don't do that. You don't need me full screen. That's hideously ugly. But the DFPN at work, the only at work in town, and the Dynasty Dummies podcast. And if you're looking for rookie content, we're rolling through our rookie film notes. I know that if you're following Peter, you're probably not into the film notes, but at least I can give you the other side of the coin.
I know I tend to attract the people that don't like what I have to say. Just like, okay, tell me the pain right now so I can fucking know how stupid you are. And then I'll move. That seems to be my audience. Like, just get it out of the way with. Tell me all the nerd things, then I'll ignore them. Spaceman, where you at these days? You do actually live stream occasionally, right?
He hangs out with Ryan McDowell. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, he's just
big time people.
Chilling with Ryan.
Big time people. You can find me over at FF_Spaceman on Twitter. I do have a Patreon, but it's mostly free, so you can check that out as well. But I'm on the Taylor 2 Hours podcast and the Rookie Fever podcast as well. But if you want, you can check that stuff out. But I also want to say, guys, we're starting to get into that exciting time of year where it'll probably be on the DFPN network again, but we're getting towards the SFB Podathon with Sal Lito and the whole crew. So get ready, get excited. There's going to be a lot of fun things going on this year for the SFB Podathon. So start to get your ears out. There was a huge engagement from sponsors, from donors. So let's start getting excited again for the Podathon, because I think we're going to even surpass the, honestly, records that were set last year by those guys. So I'm really excited to help them out again this year on the back end. So I'll be probably sliding into everybody's DMs soon.
Yeah. Okay. I keep finding new and weirdo arrangements. That one will do. Yeah, I really appreciate it. I don't know how to do this. Normally, most people won't come on and talk to me when I'm live streaming. So I was like, what do the open bar do? And that's what the open bar does at the end. They just ask everyone else to talk. So I thought I'd do that. Appreciate you guys coming on. Happy to be back on a Monday. Thanks to the 9, 10, 12 viewers we had throughout the entire. I'm over 400 subs on YouTube. I think that's a good thing. I'm pretty excited about that. That's more than I would have expected. So yeah, thanks for that too. I think that's weird flex, but okay. I think that's that kind of territory. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Thanks very much for checking it out. And I'll see you next Monday, as long as I keep managing to remember which one is Monday, I guess. Appreciate it. Thanks very much. And thanks again, fellas. Bye.